Okay, so again, we are continuing psychiatry today. The last thing we mentioned yesterday was pedophilia. We saw a short video on the To Catch a Predator and discussed the idea that these folks are not going to stop. One concern with this now is that with it being mentioned as a diagnosis and a mental illness, as you can imagine, people are trying to use that as a means of getting themselves out of trouble. Remember that guy in the video yesterday, the one that went to the house and then to the McDonald's the next day and all that? And we said that guy's not going to stop. Well, when they finally do catch this person and bring charges against him, he'll go in the courtroom and tell them the same thing he told Chris Hansen. I'm seeing a psychiatrist. Okay. In other words, I'm sick. Please don't send me to jail. I'm sick. I worked at the state hospital for a short period of time, and by that I mean about 6 months, and because I didn't like it very much. But one of the groups the very first group I was assigned to was the sexual predators, and I really, really did not like that group, man. I walked out of there feeling just dirty, sitting listening to stories and excuses, well, they flaunted and, this little 11-year-old girl wanted it from me and da, 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 da. And I just walked out of there feeling dirty. And I finally went to the psychiatrist and I said, look, I can't do this group. And he said, yeah, I understand. A lot of people have difficulty dealing with that demographic. So he moves me to another group. And the group that I ended up in was the group of people who have done something out there in the world to get themselves in trouble with the law. And when they went to court, their decision was that they didn't understand the nature of their crime and therefore couldn't be charged with it until they did. So they're sent over to the state hospital to sit in group, and we convinced them of the things that or why what they did was wrong. And our goal is to get them to go to court and to finally say to the judge, yes, I know why what I did was wrong. So that was the focus of that group. And we had a few people in there who you knew that they were afraid to go to prison. So they were playing crazy. And one was a young man. He was like 19-year-old white guy, drinking and driving, hit somebody's car, somebody in the car died. So he is on his way to prison. And he broke down in court and and crying, and his mom was crying, and everybody and the judge finally decided that he needed to go to the state hospital. And he's sitting there in the group with me now until the day he goes to court and says, I understand what I did was wrong. Because this guy's facing at least 15 years in prison for a 19-year-old young white kid. Okay, suburban kid, he was going to have some problems in prison, I promise you that. And he knew it as well. He was scared to death. Anyway, so that's the issue with pedophilia being deemed a mental disorder, in that some people out there are going to try to use that as a defense in court and try to keep from going to prison. Okay, the other of the sexual disorders, the next one is, and we're on page 836. The next one is rape. Now, why rape is a mental disorder is because, again, these people have deemed themselves as, I can't stop. Okay. And some people listen to that, and next thing you know, we're saying that going out and raping people is a mental disorder. And again, these folks are trying to go into court and claim, well, I'm sick, Your Honor. I'm sick like somebody who has schizophrenia. or I'm the same as somebody who's bipolar. You know? And the truth of the matter is, you need to go to prison. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, y'all, anybody who puts their hands on anybody else who doesn't want them to, I don't care if it's just a touching their arm. Remember what I said. Don't be putting your hands on me. To me, that is the ultimate in arrogance, to believe that you can just walk up and put your damn hands on somebody. How arrogant must you be? Okay? And to rape somebody, man, woman, or child. Men get raped as well. And I'm not talking about rape by other men. I'm talking about some men are raped by women. And out of disgrace, they don't say anything. I mean, what the hell are you gonna look like? You appear up on the news, you're a man saying a woman raped me, and they plaster your face all over the freaking news. Okay? What kind of punk must you be? So, but it does happen, y'all. And obviously, children. And the thing that we didn't mention about pedophiles, 99.9% of the time is going to be males. Okay? Whenever you hear about a woman involved in pedophilia or any type of sex scandal, that type of stuff, it's usually a man involved, not just a woman by herself. So when women are charged with this kind of stuff, it's when they are the boyfriend is messing around with one of her kids and she knows about it. And then sometimes participates. But the ideal there is that it is the man who's driving this. Okay? And that's something we didn't mention about lost children. If your children get separated from you, what instructions have you given them? It's a little bit easier today if they have a telephone. But what instructions have you told you? If you ever get separated from us and you can't find us, have you told them what to do? Okay. How many of y'all have told them to find a policeman or a store employee? They rape people too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Here's what I told my kids. If you see any woman, especially a lady with children, that's who you want to go and talk to. Just walk up. And how many of y'all would turn your back on a kid that walks up to you and says, ma'am, could you help me? I'm lost. I can't find my parents. How many of you would turn your back on that kid? Nobody. Find a woman, whether she's a store employee or just some lady walking around. If they've got kids with them, even better. Excuse me, miss, or ma'am, I can't find my mom. And they will help you. I mean, it kicks out that mother instinct in them. Okay. So that is what instructions we gave our kids. Find a lady, any lady, and just walk up to them and tell them you can't find your mom or dad. All right, so that is, guys, rape, statutory rape, again, intercourse with a minor. Children can't enter any other contract, so they can't enter sexual contracts with somebody either. So that's, so what is the age of consent in Texas? You might know.
16.
How old?
Ain't it 16 in Texas?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Well, it differs from Alabama, so I don't know about Texas, but I know about Alabama.
What's it in Alabama?
When you ready.
When you ready. It sure seems that way, doesn't it? I believe in Louisiana, I think.
There's 17 in Texas.
17 in Texas. I think it's 16 in Louisiana. It changes by each state. All right. So anyway, again, sex with a minor. All right. Sadism. This is the opposite of the masochist. And that's why we often use those two phrases together, sadomasochism, S and M. The sadist is the person who's is taking the control, okay, making up the rules and making the other person follow those rules or whatever. Now, when you get a couple together, and like I said yesterday, guys, if nobody's being hurt, nobody's being forced to do anything they don't want to do, have fun. Okay. So if it's a sadomasochist couple and they are happy and who are we to say that what they're doing is odd or unusual? Okay. With the exception of rape or pedophilia, if everybody's happy, have fun with it. Voyeurism, attaining power, control over sexual arousal by secretly watching or viewing other people who are naked or having sexual relations. That is not true. Voyeurism sometimes has nothing to do with sex. These people are not necessarily wanting to see you naked. I got to move my computer out the way a little bit. It's kind of.
Did everybody lose him or did I just lose him?
It's all of us. He's just froze.
I think it's
Oh,
everybody.
okay.
Good morning, Miss Coates.
Good morning, Michelle.
Girl, I'm trying to get home. I'm running to the house from work. Can you see me, Cheryl?
Yes, I got eyes on everyone. I'm learning that you can change how you see each other on here.
I know it be tripping me out sometimes.
Yeah. And
It's
he's
like,
still recording, so I guess he's still on there. He just
oh, what is it? Oh, oops, I'm sorry, I'm in.
hey, can anybody see Mr. Mahone?
No, his
I
No,
can't.
no,
no,
right?
no, he went
Nope.
away.
I'm gonna go check my email. Usually when this happens, he'll just re-email everybody, like re-invite us to the class. I'm gonna go check real quick.
He's back, Cheryl.
All right, that was stupid. Okay,
Yeah, he's
all right.
back.
That was weird, sir.
My bad. Yeah, I'm sitting up here trying to move the stupid computer and ended up turning the stupid thing off.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, so I am back. Next time I'll just move me instead of moving the computer. But anyway, let's get the textbook back open again. Man, I got to retype that email now because I got to send that, like it's 8:30 now. I need to send that. So let me do that. I want, okay, that's fine. That's up to date. Thank you. Need to get back to the internet. Anyway, we were mentioning that voyeurism is not necessarily looking at people naked or having sex. A voyeur is somebody who might stand outside your window at night and watch you watch TV or fix dinner or anything or something like that. What they want is they want to be part of your life. And they do that by secretly observing you. Oftentimes it has nothing to do with sex. They would consider watching somebody have sex, that would be like a bonus to them, okay? Because most people will close their doors or their windows, . But when you sit up watching TV or you're on the computer or in class like I am right now, you might leave a window open and they could easily see you sitting there doing what you're doing. So it's not always sex. So if there's somebody in your apartment complex who seems overly familiar when they're, talking to you on the stairwell or whatever, you want to be cautious about that kind of stuff. Like, did you enjoy watching the funeral yesterday? Well, how in the hell did you know I watched the funeral yesterday? Because they may have been watching it with you. I thought, yeah, Chris made it here. Garcia is here. Jaime made it in. Melissa Lucio, you here? Melissa, Lucio. Okay, so those are the names I'm sending this morning. Take a look and make sure that if you hear it, you say something. Beltran, Carter, Lucio, Pargas, and McDaniel. Going once, going twice. All right. Sent. All right, let's go back and open my book now. All right. Okay. So voyeurism again. There was a guy that worked for me who came into my office one day in the emergency room, and he said, "Mr. Mahone, can I, or Sir Mahone, can I speak to you for a minute?" And I said, "Sure. What's up, Mahone?" He said, "Well," he said, "Paul is making me feel really uncomfortable." And I said, "Derek, what are you talking about, man? How could Paul be making you feel uncomfortable?" He said, "Well," I'll move me. He said, "Well, sir, Paul keeps asking me to, I'm trying to move. I don't like having things showing behind me. And right now there's a closet door back there. And I don't like that. That is, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but I don't like that. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. Get that thing out of the picture. And then see where I have to sit to keep it out of the picture. And what if I move this over here? No, because then you're like looking at me from the side. But anyway, Paul said, Derek said, Paul is making me, I'll sort it out tonight. He said, Paul is making me feel really uncomfortable. And I said, how is Paul making you feel uncomfortable? He said, well, he keeps asking me to have sex with his wife while he videotapes us. Really? Okay. You have to understand these people. Paul is a really just kind of really quiet, I don't want to use the word geeky, but nerdy kind of dude, you know, that. And yeah, he wants me to have sex with his wife while he videotapes us. So I called Paul in the office and said, Paul, come in here, have a seat. Listen, what's going on? Why is Derek coming to my office telling me that you're making him feel uncomfortable? He said, I said, Paul, damn it. I said, Paul, you can't do that, man. You can't be that. So I actually had to type Paul up for sexual harassment. So anyway, and Paul was eventually discharged from the Air Force because based on the sexual harassment paperwork that we put in, the Office of Special Investigations, they launched a full investigation into Paul and his lifestyle. They went online, found all kinds of videos and that type of stuff that he was posting online of his wife having sex with other people, and he's in the room, So they deemed that as sexual deviance, and they just gave him administrative discharge from the Air Force. So anyway, voyeurs come in all shapes and sizes, y'all. Women voyeurs, females, males is kind of split equally. There's no boom. So anyway, violating somebody's privacy, are all, you know, hiding outside windows. So if you live on the first floor on an apartment or at your house, you might want to go outside and check around your windows and look for like cigarette butts and candy wrappers and things like that, where they've been standing out there just kind of watching you. Ain't that creepy? How many of y'all are sitting next to a window right now? Yeah, you want to look out there and see who is there somebody out there just watching you go to school. And they might catch you coming out of the apartment and say, hey, so how are your classes today? Oh, how you know I was in class? So anyway, that's voyeurism. And healthy ways to do that is kind of what Paul was doing, but in the military, that's not allowed. And where he made his mistake was by approaching a coworker. If he'd have just kept it personal between him and his wife and people out there in the world, you know, but once he brought it to work, that's when it became a problem. So that is, and that's what I mean when I say as long as nobody's being hurt. The person that he was hurting was Derek. Derek's feeling uncomfortable coming to work and being around this person. So you are hurting somebody. So like I say, as long as you're not hurting anybody, you know, be happy with what you do. If Paul hadn't brought that to work, never would have been an issue. All right. So anyway, that is the psychosexual disorders and the people out there doing that kind of stuff. All right. Cognitive disorders. Cognitive refers to your ability to think, use logic, make decisions, and so on. So that's why I got into occupational therapy in the first place. I wanted to work with people who had cognitive deficits or disorders, problems in thinking, many of times happening as a result of damage to the brain. But anything that happens because your brain is damaged does not fall into this chapter, because we're not talking about brain damage here. We're talking about mental disorders. For example, when you look at the brain of somebody who has schizophrenia, you'll see no changes in their brain structure, The brain will look exactly like anybody else's. That's why, you know, you can't associate this stuff with the brain because there's nothing wrong with their brain. It looks and functions just like everybody else's. So when you see a change in their brain structure, we call that brain damage. Like Aaron Hernandez, when they did the CT of his head after he died, or the autopsy or the pictures of his brain, you could see dramatic changes in his brain structure. So that wouldn't be considered a mental disorder. He had brain damage, a brain function disorder. Yeah, okay. Amnesia is partial loss of long-term memory due to trauma or disease of the hippocampus. The patient is said to be amnesiac. Again, if you look at their brain and you see a change in their brain, then it should not be mentioned in this chapter. So I'm going to take that word trauma or disease out of there, unless they're talking about psychological trauma. If they're talking about a blow to the head and you lose your memory, that's not what this chapter is all about. If they talk about something like Alzheimer's, a disease, it shouldn't be in this chapter. All right. What we're talking about is people who just, for some reason, forget who they are, forget their families. Okay. And that falls in the line with the term psychogenic. Got to turn the pen on. The second word is pronounced fugue, psychogenic fugue. This is when you just lose memory, usually because of some traumatic event, mental trauma. And you suddenly forget who you are. Does anybody remember the movie Jason Bourne? Anybody see that movie? Now, when he went,
Which one, Mr. Mahone? I like them all.
the first one, the very first one. I mean, it wasn't called Jason Bourne. What was it called? Anyway, but when he went on that boat and was supposed to assassinate that man, it was so mentally stressful for him that when he realized there was a kid there and it was just too much stress on the mind. The guy shot him, but he didn't shoot him in the head. He shot him in the chest or in the body. But when he came out the water, he didn't remember who he was. That's psychogenic fugue. There was no brain damage. There was just so much stress on the brain or the mind that it blocked those memories. Another good representation of that in a movie is in a movie with Michael Douglas called Falling Down. He's driving home from work after just losing his job. He's an older salesman person, and the young people are out selling him. So, you know, it's time to let the dinosaur go. So he's just lost his job. His wife is talking about leaving him. His kids are just horrible. He's in the LA freeway at rush hour. The temperature clock says it's 101 degrees. They're doing construction and it's bumper to bumper traffic and jackhammers and bulldozers going and all this. And all of the stress just came to a head. And boom, he just snapped. The next thing you know, he doesn't know who he is. He gets out of the car, walks off all down into the neighborhood, and the movie is about him and his experiences walking around that neighborhood, not knowing who he was. East LA neighborhood, white guy walking around, doesn't know who he is. So that's a psychogenic fugue. And unless it falls in that category, it shouldn't be talked about in this chapter. So what do these people forget? Well, it's selective. You see, if the knowledge of you being a failure is so stressful to the mind that's what you'll forget. You'll forget that you're a failure and forget everything associated with that being you. But you still speak English. You still know what a dollar bill is. You can still write, sentences and so on. So it's selective loss of memory. You only forget those things that are stressful to you. And if your family is stressful to you, you may forget that you have a family. And understand that once you forget you have a family, you'll probably forget who you are as well, because you're associated with that family or memory. And as a result, they find you a year and a half from now living in Austin, working at a truck stop. And somebody driving through stops and sees you and go, "Hey, dude, where you been, man? Everybody's been looking for you in San Antonio." "Oh, is that where I'm from?" "Yeah, you got a wife and kids down there." "Oh, do I?" "No, it's too late now. I've got a girlfriend. I'm living with her family. Da, 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 da." How did you end up at that truck stop? Who knows? Who knows? You drove your damn car till it ran out of gas, went in there, didn't have any money, and somebody said, "Well, you can clean the back storage room to get some money if you need to." And you end up working there from now on, having no idea who you are or where you're from. That's a psychogenic fugue. Now, of course, if you damage your head, the memory cells being stored up there, yeah, you could lose some memories from that as well. So anything that has anything to do to damage to the brain should be talked about in a different area when we talk about the brain itself. So when we do the brain, that's when we will talk about what's down here. Alzheimer's. Okay. Because Alzheimer's shows distinct changes in the structure of the person's brain. So Alzheimer's is not a mental disorder. It's a disease, okay? Another category of disease. And the next thing that shouldn't be mentioned in here is delirium tremens, because this is due to toxic levels of alcohol and then the withdrawal from that. So this is a form of, should be actually mentioned in substance abuse. Okay. So this whole section right here, they got the wrong conditions in here. So delirium tremens is what happens to you when you withdraw from alcohol. Your blood has reached such a toxic level that when it starts to go down from that level, the body now will not function right, because this is a level you need to maintain. Have you ever heard that people don't do drugs to feel better? They do drugs eventually, or you start doing drugs to feel better, but you continue to do them to feel normal. That's what's happened to these folks. They have reached a point where that high level of alcohol in their body is now determined to be normal for them as far as the body is concerned. So if you start to move away from that, the body starts to respond in negative ways. The shaking of the hands, the confusion, the hallucinations and so on, that's your body responding to it moving out of what has come to be declared as normal for you. Just like if your water level starts to go down from normal, the body's going to respond to that. If your sugar level starts to go down from normal, your body's going to respond to that. So that toxin of alcohol or drugs in their blood has become normal for them. If they start to go down from that, the body's going to respond. And in delirium tremens, the body is responding in this way. Confusion, disorientation, agitation, not due to toxic levels, but due to withdrawal of those toxic levels. You're moving down from that, of drugs or alcohol. And that's why we want to know before we admit you to the hospital how much you drink. It has nothing to do with accusing you of being an alcoholic. It has to do with this right here in you. If we let that go down, the body's going to get sick. And that's delirium tremens. We dealt with a lot of that on the ward out in California, and it's one of the reasons that I just don't have a lot of patients for alcoholics. Dementia, the most common form of dementia is Alzheimer's, and dementia itself is a decline in mental abilities. And the most common form of dementia is Alzheimer's. So we're going to talk about that when we do the brain. In order to describe what Alzheimer's is, I've got to draw a picture of the brain and show you the changes in their brain. So again, this is not a mental disorder. It's a brain disorder. Okay. And most forms of dementia are going to be caused by brain damage in some way. But a gradual loss of mental abilities, that is, what word means this, and losing words. And that's the first sign of Alzheimer's, by the way, is losing words. Okay, the person who was constantly going, man, what is that word? Doggone it. You know the word I'm talking about. They just can't think of the word that they're trying to use. And then it progresses into other more serious symptoms of the disease. But we'll talk about Alzheimer's when we do the brain. And that takes us out of those and into your impulse control disorders. And one of the first of those being the intermittent explosive disorder. These people do not control their impulses. Now, this could also be caused by brain damage. If you have a brain tumor in a certain part of the brain, your impulse control could be affected. And you find that the person is acting on impulse all the time. But intermittent explosive disorder is sudden, explosively violent, unprovoked attacks of rage that are out of proportion to the stress. Patients always blame their angers on others. They commit assault and battery, domestic violence. During psychiatric interviews, they're asked if they have any homicidal ideations. In other words, are you going to try to kill somebody, or you think about killing somebody? Now, these people out there are these are the road rage people out there. And y'all know the ones I'm talking about. Yeah. The person that just has got to chase you down, yell and scream at you, give you the finger, call your mama, this and that and the other, and they are just out of control. Okay, now, guys, you have got to see those people as funny. That's the only way to do it. You cannot let these people get you into their world. Yeah. One guy pulled up next to me on the road. We were on Grissom. And he pulls up next to me, man, and he is yelling and screaming, and you can see him in there MFing, and I mean, he is just, boom. I don't know what I did to this man. But buddy, he's fingering this. He gave me every finger and and just yelling and screaming. And he's pointing at the parking lot over on Grissom and one of the interstate. He's just pointing at the parking lot. And I'm looking at this fool like, really? So finally I just said, I parking lot, let's go, parking lot. So he pulls up in the parking lot. I keep driving. What is up with this man? Does he think that I'm going to pull in somewhere, get out of my car, and fight with this man over some shit that happened in traffic? I don't think so. If anything, I'm going to shoot your ass. Guys, I carry a gun everywhere I go for people like that. I've never pulled it on anybody. I've never shot anybody, obviously, but it's there if I need it. I am not going to be out here fighting with you. I'm sorry. I saw them one day, y'all. I think I mentioned that. I talk about this one a lot. I was pulling on the 410 on the little access road, and there were 3 cars parked on the side of the access road. And there was one guy, I didn't see what happened, but there was one guy who was walking back to the front car with a baseball bat in his hand. And he gets up to his car and he opens the door. He tosses his baseball bat in and he climbs in and drives off. Obviously, this man has jumped out of his car with a baseball bat in his hand, walking towards somebody else's car. I would have shot his ass. Took my chances in court. I'm sorry. You're out here doing this kind of crap. You are out of control, man. You jump out of your car with a weapon in your hand, you're out of control. And that's these people. They're just out of control. And they are also the reason that I have a dash cam in my car. Not only for these people, but for the police as well. My dash cam shows the entire window on my side. So if there's a policeman standing there talking to me, it's going to pick up everything. What he says or what he or she says, their posture, my posture sitting there in the car, it's all caught on camera. And mine records to the cloud. So they can't like snatch the camera out and and it also records the front of the car as well. Just so again, guys, I'm going to have some of this stuff. Like I said, I do not want to shoot anybody. But I'm not going to be out here fist fighting with you either. I'm too old for that shit. All right. And then when I show up in court, I'm going to have the nasal thing, the little nasal oxygen thing in my nose. And I'm going to be walking with my walker. And I'm going to be like, yeah, Honor, I had like 4 heart attacks and a stroke. I can't be out here fighting these people. Boy, I'm going to play it to the hilt. Because I'm not going to jail for some silly shit because you decide you're going to jump out your car with a baseball bat. You find out you brought a stick to a gunfight. All right, so anyway, that is intermittent explosive disorder. What do we do for these people? You can medicate them, but it is intermittent. It's not constant. Okay? So pretty much what happens is you just say somebody lost their cool, and you move on. 3 months later, they lose their cool again. Next month, they lose their cool again. And that's what we just, you're too passionate. No, you have a damn disorder. And let me tell you about this one right here. Spousal abuse, child abuse. Hitters hit, it's what they do. If they hit you today, they're going to hit you tomorrow. So, I don't care how many times they say they're sorry. I don't care how sincere they seem. They're going to do it again. Remember I said about people who put their hands on anybody anyway. That's pretty damn arrogant. So if you are in a scenario, remember we have a really good women's shelter here in San Antonio. And unlike some other places, they'll take you and the kids. And they have, off-duty police officers there to keep people from coming around. They also move it occasionally. So I can't really tell you where it is because they move to different houses around town so that nobody really knows where they are or where they can come and find you. So, and they'll come and pick you up too. So just know there's a really good women's shelter here in San Antonio. But again, these people out there, guys, they tend to be abused spouses, abused children, things like that. That's the biggest argument my wife and I have ever had in 38 years is about hitting kids. She believes in spanking. I don't hit. So she would tell me, you need to give he needs a spanking. Fine. If he needs a spanking, go give him one. I'm not doing it. Well, you're the dad. I said, I don't care. I don't hit kids. I don't hit anybody. In fact, my wife hit me on my hand one day. I was doing something, and she hit me. I'm like, I'm calling the police on you. Don't be hitting people, man. Are you crazy? Well, I do hit my wife occasionally, but it's that I do the butt pat thing. Yeah, girl. Mm-hmm. But I never hit my wife, but I beat my wife all the time. Hmm. I beat her at Jeopardy. I beat her at Wheel of Fortune. I beat her at all the games. I'm just like, I'm wanting them to get a question right in Jeopardy, and I dance around like, yeah, girl. What? Um, Not too long ago, they had one of the categories in Jeopardy was medical abbreviations. Bang, bang. I was popping them out like, yeah, girl, What? The whole column. Bang. So anyway, if you win in my house, you get to do the Jeopardy dance. So anyway, um, this intermittent explosive people, they tend to do things like spousal abuse, child abuse, so on. They're out there in the world hitting other people or thinking they can. Again, if you arrogant enough to think you can put your hands on other people, eventually that shit's going to backfire on you. It's just like the old West days when they say it doesn't matter how fast you are, there's always somebody out there faster. I don't care how tough you are, there's always somebody out there tougher. All right, so kleptomania. These people are stealing stuff. And if you've ever stolen something, remember I told y'all me and my little group, we were thieves. That's what we did. You know that as you've got that thing, man, and it's in your pocket or under your shirt or under your pant leg, and you're walking to the door, you're getting that rush of adrenaline, sugar release into your bloodstream, your senses are heightened, your heart rate is up, your respiratory rate is up, and you're just really pumped. And these people, that's the sensation that they're after. But they don't want to get into trouble, like, big trouble. So they usually steal small things. You still get the rush, but if you get caught, well, the thing was only worth, $10. And that's why you see those signs in Walmart and that type of stuff that says we do prosecute, because many places won't. $10, how much money is it going to cost us to put you in jail for stealing $10 worth of something? So they'll just kind of, escort you out the store, put your picture up, say, you can't come back in the store. But Walmart and other places, they get so much of that they finally just said, yeah, we will prosecute you, no matter what the dollar value is. But they will go after little things so that they don't get into a whole lot of trouble. Okay? And many times they'll have the money in their pocket as well. That's another thing. You can always say, oh, I forgot I put that in there. Here, let me go on and pay for it. You got an extra little $20 something in your shopping cart. Walking out the door, lady, well, you know what? You didn't pay for that. Oh, I forgot that was down there. Let me just go back and pay for it. Okay. So that's why they go after little things. And most times, or oftentimes, they're going to have the money right there in their pocket. They're just doing it to get that thrill of getting something for nothing. Even though it's something small. Overwhelming impulse to steal things that have little or no value. These things are not stolen out of anger or revenge, and the patient sometimes even secretly returns them. Unlike shoplifting, the patient does not steal in order to obtain something without paying for it. The patient is a kleptomaniac. All right. I was standing in the Valero one day, waiting in line to pay for something. And this guy walks in, and he walks right past me, and he goes all the way to the back, to the coolers back there, and he takes out two of those suitcase beer things and walks right out the door. And I look at the lady and say, you see that? She said, yeah, I saw it. They're told not to do anything. And it makes sense, too. Because anybody who's bold enough to do that, if you're going to chase them out there in that parking lot, there's no telling what could happen to you. So they don't want their employees chasing people out into the parking lot if they steal something like that. Go to another Valero, and yeah, the lady comes out the door. Hey, you need to die, yelling and screaming at this man. Now, what's this make make this man not turn around and take whatever he took and throw it at her and hit her in the head with it or whatever. So I understand the reasoning. I'm from Valero, not having their employees chasing people out into the parking lot like that. One day we was at the mall, that Mall of the America, not Mall of the Americas, the one right up on 410 and the crossroads up there, 410 and Fredericksburg, or 10 and whatever. But it's like not really a mall anymore, just like a big building. Anyway, Wonderland Mall. Anyway, I'm walking into the place, and this guy comes running out past me, and he's got the little shopping cart, the one you carry, just filled with stuff, and he just runs out. There's a car sitting right there. He jumps right in the passenger car, and the thing just screeches off. The manager comes out behind him, but by then he's in the car and gone. So I told my wife, we need to start doing that, man. She just sit out in the car. I go in, and she can call me when the coast is clear, and I can just dash out and jump in the car and we just drive off, man. So anyway, kleptomania, they're doing it because of the thrill, not because they're getting to get something free. All right. Pathological gambling. It's a damn good thing we don't have a casino in San Antonio, Texas, because my family would be fat broke, because my wife is a gambler. And she's not here now. Good. My wife's a gambler, y'all. She likes that thrill of winning something, getting, blah, blah, blah. She does the lottery tickets and all that kind of stuff. But bingo and so on. We went to Vegas once, and the kids were too little to go into the casino. So I was outside with the kids because I don't gamble. And she took her little budget and she went into the casino to gamble. And she just does a slot machine and stuff. So we were walking around doing our thing, come back when she's supposed to be ready and she's not out there. I can't even go in to look for her because I've got the kids right there with me. So we sat there for another 40 minutes before she finally walks out of the casino, and she walks right over to me and she leans real close and she says, "How much money do we need to get home?" I said, "Oh, hell no. Come on." I grabbed her by her arm. "You come on. Y'all come on, man. Get this woman to the car before she kills us out here." And doggone Las Vegas bookies looking for us and stuff. So anyway, that is pathological gambling. Guys, they always believe that next bet will be the one. Well, they'll win the big money, the $50,000. And they do the same thing that my wife does. When she finally does win on one of those lottery tickets, 75, oh, babe, I won $75. What do you think she does? She buys $75 worth of lottery tickets. So she pays it right back to them. So it's just the thrill of winning the thing. Having the money is boom. And even if she doesn't put it right back in, how much money do you think she spent to win that 75 over the past 6 months? She's probably spent, hell, 300 on tickets, wins 75, and is really excited. Hey, I won $75. So it's not actually even the money value, it's the winning that they are, that turns them on. Constant gambling interferes with normal life. Patients lie about how much money they have lost and often place bigger bets to try and win back the lost money. That's when you've gotten yourself in trouble. You have gambled away your rent money. Okay. And you are down to 700. Your rent is 800. So what do you start doing? You start gambling this away, trying to get enough to next thing you know, you're down to 500. What are you going to do? Rent is 800 You got 500. You're not going to pay. You're not going to pay the rent anyway. So you continue to gamble this, and next thing you know, you're down to zero. And somebody said, "You lost all your rent money?" No, you lost $100 of it. But then you blew the rest of it, always trying to get that $100 back. And before you know it, you've lost it all. So they always think that the next bet is going to be the one that set them straight. Pyromaniacs, these people want to, they want to see things destroyed by fire. So for them, it's not a matter of starting a fire in the barbecue pit or in your fireplace and just watching the fire. No, they want to see houses burn down, fields, forests, trees, that kind of stuff. They want to see some damage done by this fire. They want to see that big raging fire that's just consuming everything as it comes through. Fires are not set to take revenge, conceal a crime, or collect insurance money. They just want to see everything burn down. Trichotillomania, these people are pulling their hair out. It just becomes a tick for them. It's usually at the side of the head because that's what you can easily reach. And this is more common in women than men. Pulling their head, eyebrows, eyelashes is also related to exorciation disorder or skin picking, both which are a type of obsessive compulsive behavior. My mom has no eyebrows. She never did. She would pluck eyebrows until just had that little nub on each side right there, and then use the pencil thing to draw in the eyebrows. And that was my mom. Yeah. Oh, y'all wait, I have to go put my eyebrows on. Okay. Look like an alien with no eyebrows on her head. But anyway, just pulling out the hair constantly until you end up with bald spots and things like that. Trichotillomania. All right. Now these are y'all. See, these people are not necessarily in the state hospital. That's why I say this is y'all. They're not in the state hospital. They may have never been diagnosed with anything, but boom, they have these things as part of their personality. And I'm one of them. I'm in this list. A personality trait that I have. But remember, this is what I don't like here. See, antisocial personality, what are they missing? Disorder. This is the word that should be on here. Antisocial personality disorder. There are a lot of people out there with antisocial personalities, but when you have the disorder, that's when you should be listed in this book. So all of these should say disorder after them. Before we get into them, let's go on and take a break. It's 9:15 now. Come back at 9:30. Give us a 15-minute break.
Mr. Mahone?
Yes.
Tatiana's having difficulties logging on.
Thank you. I see Melissa Lucio is here now.
Yes, sir.
Else?
So I have a question.
Yes.
I was wondering if you can give me an extension on the homework, pages 98 through 102.
Okay. Yeah, you missed the first few minutes. The homework, all the homework is due on August 13th.
Okay, August 13th.
I'm going to give a homework, a due date for the homework, except for that. So keep chugging away. I emailed out all the pages of homework for the entire mod.
I got that.
It's already sent out. So just work on those as you get to them. Some folks, again, it might benefit you to do the homework as we do each chapter because it is outlined by chapter as well. So, for example, when we finish this chapter, you go and you do the psych pages, or just keep chugging on it all the way through until the 13th. All the homework will be due on the 13th. Okay. Class ends on Thursday. All right, so I see that again, should show up. Anybody else that I marked absent who is showing up now? Nicole is here, I see you. Cassie is here, I see you. Davion, and then Chris is here. And so is Heidi. Okay, so I'll get that updated on my attendance sheet, and we will see y'all back here at 9:30. Any more questions?
Yes, I have another one.
Okay.
Did you receive my email from the test or that game?
What did you say? I'm sure I did.
The
What did you say in there? What were you trying to? What message were you trying to get to me? Oh, she locked up. Okay, I see this one right here from this morning. Uh, okay, yes, I see it right here. No, no, that's somebody different. Oh, not allow me to rejoin your class because you removed. Yes, I did, because I asked you several times who that was, and you did not answer, so you weren't listening. So that when I rejoin your class because I apologize. I must have had Tyler's name still on there. Yes, you did have Tyler's name still on there. Okay, so hmm. Is there something in here that will let me let you rejoin? I don't know because I've never done that before. Hmm. Okay, let me send you another invite to click on and change the name in there. So I'll take care of that. Y'all go ahead to break, and then again 9:30. All right, close that. And that was Tatiana. I want to go to, yeah, let's go back and click on that. Wow, I hope that's not a permanent thing. All right, we'll keep working on that and see how that works out. All right, so All right, and I'm back. Hopefully she can get that worked out. Um, it makes sense now, but I hadn't thought about that. That if I take you out of a meeting, it probably won't let you back in. And that keeps people from, you kick them out, they come back, kick them out, they come back, that kind of stuff. So hopefully that will let her get back in. I probably won't do that anymore. But again, guys, you have got to put your name up there so I can see who you are. I know who it is now, but based on the name, I had no idea who that person was. All right. So anyway, antisocial personality disorder. So what is anti? Disregard for written, unwritten rules. They believe that the rules of society don't apply to them. Okay. The social rules like wearing masks in public now, social distancing. See, that stuff doesn't apply to them. They're above all that. Stop signs, stop lights, speed limits, all that stuff doesn't apply to them. Okay. So they just go through life pretty much doing whatever the hell they want. These are the people who are in the stores right now yelling and screaming at the clerks and things like that because they asked them to wear a mask. Did y'all see that fool who pulled a gun on somebody in one of the stores because somebody was telling him he needed to put your mask on and and a little argument broke out and he ended up pulling a gun on somebody. Let me tell y'all something, man. If I ever pull my gun out my holster, I'm pulling the trigger. There is no need to pull a gun on somebody because you're having an argument with them. Okay. You got to be in my face, hands on me, literally making me fear for my life before I'll pull a gun out of a damn holster on somebody. And this dude just got into an argument with somebody and pulled a gun. How many of y'all have been to the stores over the past few months or the past month or so? Gun stores. I go to gun stores all the time, y'all. And guess what? There are no guns in the racks. You go over to Academy, their gun cases are empty. People are arming up right now. And that's what I told my wife. Listen, man, you can't find bullets anywhere. I finally found a place up on 410. It's a little small place. Most people probably don't know it's there. They sell the ammunition that I need, but they only sell one box a day. So I've been there every day for the past 2 weeks, buying boxes of ammunition. People are arming up, man. And people are, my daughter's going to the concealed carry class. She had to wait, they do them on Saturdays and Sundays. She had to wait 3 weeks in order to get an opening into a class. People are going and they're getting concealed carry license and things like that. And people are just getting stupid out there in the world, y'all. And I told my wife, listen, when the shooting starts, I'm not going to be the only one standing there without a gun, man. I'm sorry. People are just getting stupid out there. And these are some of them, these antisocial folks out there. They have no empathy for others or remorse for their actions. The guy who pulled the gun on the people in the store, he'll say it's their fault. They started it, But I tell you what, guys, if you are that kind of person where, again, you get in an argument with somebody and you're going to snatch a gun out of a holster, then you don't need to be carrying a gun in the first place. And the good news is that that guy will probably lose his concealed carry license. I'm pretty sure there isn't a judge in the world who's going to let him keep a concealed carry license after pulling a gun on somebody because they asked him to wear a mask. The people are out of control. And unfortunately, these things, when they ask people, when you apply to buy a gun, one of the questions on there is, have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness? And unfortunately, these people have never been diagnosed because they're just out of control. Nobody looks at it as a mental illness in them. When that guy who pulled that gun in that store should be diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, but that won't happen. They also fight. They don't attend school. That's me. Y'all, I didn't go to school, but y'all know it's because of my ADHD. My mom got a letter from the school. This was when I was in the 8th grade. My mom got a letter from the school that said I had missed 75 days in the first semester of 8th grade. The semester is only 90 days long. I missed 75 days. So I only went to school 15 days in that semester. And those were the days that I went to homeroom and then left after homeroom, got marked present and then left. After that, I stopped caring. So after a couple of weeks of going to homeroom every day, getting marked present and then cutting out, I just stopped going to homeroom at all. So truancy, vandalism, sexual promiscuity, excessive drinking, use of illegal drugs, criminal acts. We all did that as kids, but it was our environment. I wouldn't say we're all antisocial, but I don't stop at stop signs. Stop signs don't apply to me, man. That applies to everybody else. If I pull up and there are no cars there, I'm gone, man. I'm not going to be sitting stopping here just because there's a little sign right there. And that one stoplight right outside the building over at the school, the one over on the little side road that takes forever to change, trying to turn on to Fredericksburg. If that thing is red and there are no cars coming and there ain't no police around, I may just have to go through that thing. I was going to sit there all day. It's not for me. It's for all y'all to stop that. All right. So anyway, sometimes these people have been referred to as sociopaths or psychopaths. They don't follow the rules of society. And that includes things like murder, killing my wife because I don't want to be married anymore. Oh, good. Tatiana got back in. Killing my wife because I don't want to be married anymore. What was his name? Oh, shoot. The one football player. He played for New Orleans Saints. Killed his wife or hired somebody to kill his wife because she was pregnant. What a freaking idiot, man. And then they found his butt hiding in the trunk of a car somewhere in Texas somewhere. So anyway, hold on, what was his name? Anyway, making millions of dollars, y'all. And he don't want to pay child support. See, that's an antisocial personality, a psychopath. Okay. So anyway, what do we do with these people? Many of them will go undiagnosed until they get into something really, really serious. And then they go to court and they try to say, well, Your Honor, my client and you bet in court they're going to use the word disorder. My client has antisocial personality disorder. You know they're going to use that word in court, trying to get out of trouble. All right. Now, I just saw Tatiana coming in. I was going to say welcome back, but maybe she has to try again. All right. So anyway, antisocial personality disorder. What was that, Jaime?
Were you looking for me?
No. How many of y'all noticed that Miss Paz was in the meeting last hour or last class, or was in the class last hour? Anybody notice that? My boss, Miss Paz. See, some instructors have a problem with that. It's like, ooh, they're spying on us. The only time you would have a problem with your boss coming to your class is if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. I have no problem with that type of quality. It's what I call quality control. Bosses coming in and see what's going on in the classes, man, especially when you're teaching from home. Okay, so antisocial personality. Avoiding personality. They avoid social contact because of excessive shyness or an extreme fear or sensitivity to sensitivity, criticism, or fear and sensitivity to criticism or rejection. Yeah, they don't want to be embarrassed in public. So they avoid, and I'm not going to say social contact. They avoid social performance situations. In other words, when you're supposed to be a certain way with people. For example, if you are going to the club, this is the person who won't get on the dance floor because last time they did, somebody made fun of the way they were dancing. This is the person who won't speak in public because they said something stupid the last time they opened their mouth, and so on. So it's not somebody who avoids social contact, but they shy away from social performance when you're supposed to do something and you have messed up on that sometime in your past. Borderline personality disorder. Now, this one is misunderstood. This doesn't mean that like borderline diabetic. It doesn't mean that you almost personality disorder. This means a specific type of personality disorder in which the person doesn't sustain stable relationships. They fear abandonment and panic when they are alone. Um, my daughter had a little bit of this, my oldest daughter. Deandra is adopted. All of our children are adopted. Deandra was adopted when she was 18 months old. So she kind of knew what was going on, that there were some changes being made and that type of stuff. And when we got her into daycare, what she would do is about the time that daycare was supposed to be ending, they couldn't get her to play that last hour and stuff, with the other kids because she was busy standing at the window waiting to see us pull up to pick her up. So it was a little bit of fear of abandonment. We drop her off at the daycare, and it's like, well, are they coming back? And about the time, and she was 18 months, but she could figure out when it was time to go and stand at that window to make sure that we were going to come there to show up to pick her up. So they do fear abandonment. As a result of that, they rush into intense relationships. In other words, they meet somebody today and they just kind of glob onto that person, man. This is a person who would have sex with you one time and expect to get married. Go out on one date and you are my girlfriend now. Okay. Spend the night with me one night and see, okay, I'm going to propose to you tomorrow. So they rush into these relationships, and they're sometimes self-destructive relationships. My mom and sister both probably fall in this somewhere because they both rush into destructive relationships, man. I mean, men that they know are just no damn good. My sister dated a crackhead. We used to laugh so much at this man. He was what we call a functioning crackhead, okay, where he was going to work and stuff, but he was spending every little extra dime he got on crack. So he was that, functional crackhead. One day we were in the kitchen, and I might have mentioned this before, but one day we were in the kitchen visiting, and my mom was ordering pizza on the phone. And my sister calls in from the living room and she says, Mama, make sure you get one with hamburger on it because, Tony don't eat pork. And I just got a big kick out of that. Oh, the crackhead doesn't eat pork. Okay. So, yeah, that pork is bad for you, man. Can't be having that stuff. Can't be on that swine. But you can smoke that crack, no problem. Be on that pipe, no problem. But stay away from the pork. But anyway, and my mom, man, just dating men that were just, you meet in bars and that type of stuff, guys. Let me tell you something. If you meeting your man in the bar, I'm sure he's a bar fly. And you're not going to change that. That person's probably going to be a bar fly from now on. But my mom just wasn't seeing that kind of mess, man. So they were both just all through their life, just dating these no good Negroes out there. And that's probably one of the reasons that when I met my wife, I said, you know what? If we get married, we're going to be married for life, man. That's all there is to it. I mean, whatever problems we have, whatever arguments we have, we just going to have to work that shit out. Because I'm not going through this, divorce this person, marry this person, 3 or 4 marriages in your life, that kind of stuff. I'm not doing that. And we took it to heart. And there have been times that, shit, man, we were breaking up or leaving each other every other day. I'm leaving your ass and but we always worked through it. Usually because whenever I left, I usually never made it past the front porch. Because by the time I get to the porch, I start thinking things like, man, where the hell I'm going to go? Who going to fix my dinner and rub my feet for me like this woman do? I better take my ass back in there and say, I'm sorry. Anyway, so I started looking at what I'm going to lose if I walk out the door. So that's like narcissism right there, y'all. So anyway, borderline personality, boom. Sometimes it's a matter of The last time I was in a relationship and that woman left me, it devastated me so much that I'm not going to let that happen to me again. And if I get into another relationship and it starts getting serious, well, see, I'm going to bail on the relationship. In other words, like the song, an old song that goes, I'm going to walk out on love before love walks out on me. In other words, I'm going to get out of this before you get a chance to hurt me like I was hurt last time. So they'll wait until a relationship is getting really serious or starts to get serious, and then they'll sabotage the relationship. They'll start saying things like, you know, I need my space and you're crowding me and because they know that they're starting to have feelings for you and they don't want to be hurt like that again. That's borderline personality. Now, also, you have to look at people like the scenario with Mike Tyson. When this girl goes up to his room at, what was it, 3 o'clock in the morning, and when they get there, all they're going to do is sit in the room and talk. Well, you got to wonder about that. Now, remember what I've said, that if you put your hands on somebody and they don't want you to, your ass needs to be in jail. So don't get me wrong. If that woman did not want him to be touching her and he did, then yeah, he needs to be in jail. But at the same time, I'm going to look at her too. And I'm going to say, what thought process made you believe that you can just go to some man's room at 3 o'clock in the morning and expect to do nothing but talk? Why did you put yourself in that situation? Not saying it's your fault, but why did you put yourself in that situation? What thought process led you to that? So you got to look at the person as well. Okay. That's why they have almost every hotel my wife and I have ever stayed in. They have, or myself as well. They have a little couch area down in the lobby of the hotel for people to just sit down there and just talk all night if you want. Why'd you have to go up to that man's room? Put his ass in jail, but also look at you. You might have borderline personality disorder. All right, dependent personality. These people want to be told what to do. They want somebody else to be in charge. And they're just fine with everything. Okay? Whatever you say is fine. You know, people believe, or if you ask most people out there, what is the number one argument between couples? And people start to say, oh, money, kids. But the truth is, the number one argument between couples is, what's for dinner? How many times have y'all been through that bullshit? What do you want for dinner? I don't care, whatever you want. Well, just say something. Well, why can't you say something? I picked yesterday. And you say, well, fine, I'm just going to get pizza. No, I don't want pizza. Well, you pick then. No, I want you to pick. Just don't pick pizza. And just back and forth, man. And my wife, we go through it all the time. Since our kids are grown now, we don't cook very often. It's just, you know, it's easier to just go out and get something than it is to fire up something in the kitchen for just two people, for just a couple people. So it's all about, well, what do you want for dinner? Well, what do you want? Well, what do you want? Well, what do you want? And then she picked something, like last night she picked Taco Cabana. And the nachos that she bought, the chips, were stale as hell, man. I'm not going back to Taco Cabana. They get on my nerves. And the thing was just like, you could tell that these chips were days old. The stuff they had probably sitting out on the tables last week that people just drooled over. And now they're going to make your nachos out of them. They just can't be that stale like that from, you know, just taking them right out the bag. But anyway, they just want somebody else to be in charge. You make the decision. Okay? And that's kind of me, man. When I get home, I don't want to make any decisions. I want my wife to make the decision. Let me close this door real quick. Luckily for me, she's not here right now. But I don't want to be making the decisions about what's for dinner and You do that kind of stuff. So anyway, dependent personality. They want to be told. They have difficulty making decisions. They want others to take care of them and the details of their life. And that's me. Okay, just pick something for dinner. Just put some food down in front of me and I'm good. And luckily for me, I did marry an old-fashioned woman. My wife believes that it's not something that I demand or anything like that, but my wife believes that female is responsible for setting up dinner every night, washing clothes and that type of stuff. But she also won't put gas in her damn car. Drive straight home, walk right in the house. I need gas. Why you get gas on the way home? Because I don't like smelling like gas. Make my hands smell like gas. Go put gas in my car. So she won't put gas in. She won't wash a car. She won't do yard work or anything like that. That's the man's job. So anyway, that's an old-fashioned woman. But anyway, I don't mind. So that's dependent personality. They want other people to make the decisions for them and iron out the details of their life so they don't have to worry about it. Guys, I don't even know where our bank is. She does all that. If you ask me if I had to pay an electric bill today, I'd have to call somebody and ask how. Where do you send the payment? How do you know how much to send? I have no idea. She's always done that. Just take care of those details of my life for me so I don't have to worry about them. But now again, remember, I don't have disorder. See, we all have aspects of this stuff in our personality, but it's not an issue until it's the personality disorder. So there are a lot of us who have antisocial components to our personality. There are a lot of us that have avoidant personality components, borderline personality, and dependent personality components, but we don't have the disorder. Now, I do have a rather narcissistic personality, in case y'all haven't noticed. But I don't have, as again, narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. All right. So, what is narcissism? Many people confuse this with vanity. That's not what this is. I am not a vain person. As a matter of fact, I've never thought of myself as being fairly rather attractive in any way. But I do like to be the center of attention. Oh, hey, all right. I like to be out there in front, man. I like to be the front man. Okay. When I first realized that I have a narcissistic component to my personality, it hurt my feelings a little bit. I was like, really? Am I that? And yeah, I am. One of the things that really stood out to me when I was seeing the mental health people for anger management. I wasn't controlling my anger, and they came up with the narcissistic personality, not the disorder, just the component in my personality. And I'm thinking to myself now, am I really? But then I thought back over the years. Yeah, I am. If you, 20 years ago, if you just, meet my wife and I at a party, whatever, and, or my wife and me at a party or whatever, and you ask, so how did y'all meet? Oh, we met at blah, blah, blah. And I just run with the story. My wife just stands there. So I started thinking about things like that. Like, yeah, I do dominate conversations. I do like being in front. So now, if you ask the same question, I would say something like, babe, why don't you tell the story? You tell it better than I do. And step back and let her tell the story. Now, the whole time she's telling it, she gets it wrong. And I'm dying to tell the story myself. But it's a part of understanding these components about yourself and learning how to rein that in. and not be the center of attention all the time. Now, an exaggerated sense of self-worth and importance, yes. I do view myself as an important person, but at the same time, I view everybody as being important. So what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to let you treat me as if I don't matter in any type of service situation. So if I'm a customer in your store and you're treating me like I don't matter, shit, I'll take my business out the door. Bet on it. When I went to, another thing about Taco Cabana, I went to Taco Cabana one day last module, or was it this module? I don't know. But anyway, I went in to buy some tacos, and the charge came out to be like $8.20 or $3.20 or something. So I gave the lady a $5 bill, and she only gave me paper money back. And I said, wait a minute, where's my change? Oh, we don't give change. Excuse me? No, we don't give change. It's a new store policy. I said, well, you better give me my damn money back then. So she goes and fumbles around with the register for a few minutes, and then she said, well, I'll give you change this time, but in the future, you should remember that we don't give change. I said, no, you're not going to give me anything. What you're going to do is you're going to put my money back in my hand. I don't want your damn tacos now. You put your money back in my hand. And she gave me my money back, and I drove on, and I didn't have no damn tacos that morning. But I am not going to be treated like I don't matter. Okay? So that is if you want to say exaggerated, okay, fine. But that's my sense of self-worth and self-importance. You're not going to treat me like I don't matter out there in the world. Okay? Now, the thing about admiration, affection, that's not my goal. I'm not after this kind of stuff, compliments, admiration, affection. I don't need that in my life. But what I do need is this right here. The center of attention, man. I want everybody looking at me. And as a result of that, if I am in a room and there are two people all the way across the room whispering, they're whispering about me. They're talking about me. But who else in this room could they be talking about? They must be talking about me because I'm narcissistic. Okay. Now, when you recognize that kind of stuff in yourself and you say, man, yeah, damn it, I am narcissistic. Oh, that makes me a bad person, doesn't it? No. It's just one of my quirks, and I have to learn to deal with it. So what have I done with my narcissism? Own it. Use it. What jobs have I had in my career? Paramedic. Y'all, it doesn't get any more center of attention than that. You do your job on the street in front of everybody. Drill instructor. The top 10% of the Air Force. You're marching up and down the street. Everybody gets to see you in your uniform doing your thing. And finally, teacher. Does it get more center of attention than this? So when you recognize what is a proposed weakness in you, you might be able to turn it to your advantage and use it as your strength. And I think my narcissism is one of the things that makes me a decent teacher. I'm not going to say a good teacher or the best teacher, but I think it makes me a decent teacher. That I don't mind being like this, being the center of attention. All right, so that's narcissistic personality. But what if I had the disorder? Now, see, you wouldn't even be able to be in the room with me. I've had some of these clients over at the state hospital. One of them was Richard. Boy, Richard had narcissistic personality disorder on steroids, man. I mean, he had it to the extreme. Now, how do y'all think Richard would enter a room full of people? If you've got narcissistic personality disorder, you walk in a room, there are 10 people sitting in there. How do you think Richard was coming into that room? What was he like? Any ideas? Nobody?
Very loud.
Oh, wake up, y'all. Yeah, somebody. Now, don't leave Mr. Mahone hanging. That's like telling
Said loud.
yeah, that's like telling a joke
Was
in the
he
club and
angry?
nobody hears you. Okay. What would you say? Yes. Richard
La-
would enter a
yeah.
room like, hey everybody, how y'all doing? Oh, good to see you over there. Hey, oh yeah, what are you working on? Oh man, when I drew my picture, I made mine green. I know blue looks good, but you should try green, man. Green really makes the eyes pop and all that. Oh, hey, where did you get that shirt? Hey, you know, I had a shirt like that. And then I ripped mine because my girlfriend, who's a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, she snatched the collar one day and ripped my shirt. She don't buy me another one though. But I think I'm gonna break up with her because there's another girl that's a cheerleader and she really like, oh, hey, how you doing over there? What are you, oh, that's a key ring? Oh man, when I did mine, I laced mine this way. Richard, calm down. All right, Mr. Mahone, I'll be, just let me say this. And girl, you need to, Richard. All right, Mr. Mahone, I'll stop. So, Mr. Mahone, Richard, leave the room. Yeah, you can't be in the room with these people, y'all. They are just everything. Every conversation, every comment has to be directed at them or about them or from them. Yeah. Richard was horrible. And as a result, we would send him out to group homes. He would last about a week and they'd send him right back over again. He just couldn't find a group home that could tolerate that. Yeah. So that's narcissistic personality disorder. So remember, you can have components of these things to your personality, but when they get to the point where they start to affect your life, you can't maintain relationships, you can't keep a job. Imagine Richard trying to keep a job out there somewhere. That's when we put the word on there, disorder. And these people will usually end up on some form of disability because they just can't function in the world. All right. And then obsessive compulsive personality, we've already talked about. Now, again, I just want to mention one more time that until we put the word disorder on there, this is usually not an issue. We all have obsessions. We all have compulsions. But that doesn't stop us from going to work, making money, being in a relationship, having friends, and so on. Once it starts to do that, that's when we put the word disorder on there. All right. And then your factitious disorders. These are fake. Like your president, fake news. Everything bad about him is fake news. Yeah. Factitious disorders. And the first one we're going to mention is called, that's pronounced malingering. Malingering. When you are doing this, what you're doing is you're calling in sick and you ain't really sick. Nobody's ever done that before, right? You call in, you cough on the phone. Yeah, excuse me. I'm really not feeling good today. And then run your butts off down to the beach or whatever. Okay. In the military, that's actually illegal. And if you're caught doing that, you could be punished. You can't call it. In the military, you can't call in sick anyway. You have to go to work unless you're in a hospital. So what you do is you go to work, you go to sick call, you see the PA, and medical people, we know exactly what to say to have the PA send you home that day. And they put you on what's called quarters. In other words, go home and then come back to work tomorrow if you're on 24-hour quarters. 72-hour quarters, 48, whatever the PA deems necessary. So you go in, you tell them what symptoms you have, they do a little bit of examination, they give you a quarter slip. You walk around, give that to your boss, and then you go home. And as you can imagine, medical people knew exactly what to say in order to get quarters that day. So exhibiting factitious or false medical or psychiatric symptoms in order to get a tangible reward. In that case, the tangible reward is the day off. You get to go home that day. but also if you are medication seeking. That's when you just want to get some narcs. I went into the emergency room one day because I was having some really, really bad heartburn, y'all. I've had 4 heart attacks, so I feel anything in my chest, I'm going in. And so they're checking me out, and the doctor comes over. He goes, "Oh, so you got some really bad heartburn today?" Yes, I do. Now, remember what I said. I've had 4 heart attacks. I get the slightest pain in my chest, I'm going to the emergency room. So I've been in the ER a few times. All right. So now this doctor is thinking, well, heartburn again. Yeah, I got heartburn again. Okay. Are you medication seeking is what he's thinking. So he says right away, all right, well, let's go on and give him some morphine. Really? Morphine? For heartburn? Really? Yeah, let's go on and give him some morphine. And my wife's sitting there, I'm like, see, this bullshit. Even after I told them I've worked in emergency rooms for years, we're going through this bullshit. What does that mean? All right. The nurse comes over. Yeah, this is your morphine. Okay. We're going to go on and give that to you now. All right, slick, whatever, man. So he injects this stuff. And I look at my wife. Ain't no damn morphine. How do I know? Because morphine makes me throw up. There's no damn morphine. They gave me saline, salt water. So that now the doctor can come back and say, so how did that morphine work for you? If I say it worked, I'm medication seeking, thinking that they're going to give me some narcotics and send me home. And what? I didn't do nothing, man. Oh, the morphine didn't work? No, man, they didn't do anything. Okay, let's go ahead and give another dose of morphine. The second dose, that was freaking morphine because I threw up right away. So they were testing me to see if I say that the first dose took my pain away. If it did, then I'm medication seeking. And that's malingering, faking symptoms in order to get drugs. The third type would be faking it to get disability. I hurt my back, and you're trying to get workman's comp. So that's malingering, exhibiting factitious or false medical symptoms in order to get a tangible reward. All right. Let's say that you did go in and you were trying to get some narcotics and they told you, nope, sorry, nothing's wrong with you. We'll give you a couple Motrin, not nothing's wrong, but we'll give you a couple Motrin and send you home. Okay, you didn't get what you were looking for. So you might take this to the next level. If they know that I was faking last time, then this time I can't be faking. I've really got to have something wrong with me. So you hurt yourself on purpose. You fall down the steps on purpose. You stab yourself in the arm on purpose. You do something so that you really are hurt. And now they have to treat you with something. That's Munchausen syndrome. You're hurting yourself on purpose. And again, they have the wrong definition here. See this? Exhibiting factitious medical or psychiatric symptoms. See this? Exhibiting factitious medical or psychiatric symptoms. What did they do? Just copy that shit down there? These are not factitious. These are real. You do something to yourself on purpose. And they have the same 2 definitions for both of these. They are not the same thing. You fall down the steps on purpose. You break your leg on purpose. You hit your hand with a hammer on purpose so that you really are hurt. All right. This last one down there. This is the real problem out there. Though this is a problem, hurting yourself on purpose, that's a psychiatric problem right there. And in some cases, I forgot to mention that in some cases, the tangible reward is simply attention. All you want is attention. And so that is sometimes the case. You hurt yourself just because you want attention. And that is a mental disorder, definitely, if you're hurting yourself for attention. All right. Now, what's even worse than this one is this one right here. Munchausen syndrome by proxy. A proxy is somebody that stands in for you. Like, did y'all know you could get married by proxy? Yeah, let's say you're a military female, a military woman, and you're overseas, and your fiance is here in the States, and y'all want to get married. You can actually get married over Zoom with somebody standing in at each place. Before it was over the phone. But with somebody standing in, a proxy standing at each place to put the ring on the finger for you, So a proxy is somebody that stands in for you. Munchausen by proxy, you don't hurt yourself, you hurt somebody else to get attention for yourself. And that's commonly done with children. You hurt the child so that you can rush into the emergency room and say you saved that child's life. Now you're the hero and you're the center of attention. Everybody's paying attention to you. If they're not paying attention to you because you saved the kid's life, then they're paying attention to you because your kid has just died. You poor thing. Oh, you poor thing. People have killed children in order to get attention for themselves. The same way you see the mother at the funeral when their kid died in a car wreck and everybody is all around the mother and bringing food and the hugs, and she's the center of attention at that moment. Now, not everybody is sick enough to want that, but these people, that's exactly what they want. They want all that pity, all that just flowing of attention to them. And what do they do to get it? They hurt their own children. Can be a caregiver, like, a babysitter, a grandmother, or a mother. And in these cases, 99% will be female. It's seen in men sometimes, but very rarely. 99% of the time, it's going to be a woman. All right. Why would they do
that, sir? They did that in The Sixth Sense. The lady on the movie The Sixth Sense, the mother had was poisoning the daughter. And they had the whole situation where and then the ghost or whatever told them that the mom was actually poisoned. She was sitting there sad and crying, and everybody was like, oh, wow. And then the father never knew, but she killed her own daughter for putting pine sol in her food.
Now, I want you to, y'all are sitting there going, somebody hurts their own children? How could they do something like that? Imagine you are 19 years old, female. You just married your high school sweetheart, man. And everything is just beautiful, beautiful life. You're pregnant and everything's going exactly the way y'all want it. And the goal is for him to join the military, go to college and get a degree and da-da-da-da-da. And y'all, when he joins the military, y'all are going to travel the world. No, y'all not. See, he going to travel the world. You're going to get to go to Fort Riley, Kansas, in the middle of no freaking where. Fort Riley is where they go to learn to drive tanks and stuff, y'all. It's the middle of no freaking where. Matter of fact, if you're driving the highway there, you may have a tank on the highway next to you. It's in the middle of no freaking where. And you're there now with your brand new baby. No support because he's gone off to Afghanistan. So you're there by yourself in the middle of nowhere with your new baby. And your baby has colic, crying all night long. You can't get a moment's rest. When the baby goes down to go to sleep, you might try to get a little bit of sleep, but now it's time to wash diapers and make the formula and breast pump and all this kind of stuff. And as soon as the baby wakes up, crying again. Nobody there to support you. Your family is back here in Texas. You have no friends there. So what do? You go to the emergency room. Why the hospital? Because they have to pay attention to you. They have to give you some kind of support. And you show up with the baby and we examine the baby. Doctor diagnoses the baby with colic. They tell you to stop feeding the baby milk. Make sure you feed the baby correctly, and then they send you back home. You didn't get what you were looking for. So what are you going to do now? If you're still in the scenario, you're at your wit's end, man. You are exhausted. The baby, your own baby, is starting to get on your damn nerves. And y'all know that can happen. You know damn well your kids can get on your nerves. So what do you do then? Well, there's got to be something more seriously wrong with the baby. So you make it that way. You poison the baby. You put pine sol in their food. You put coffee grounds in their food. Or you just put your hand over the baby's mouth and nose and you hold it till they stop breathing. And then you rush the baby into the emergency room. Baby stopped breathing. That's serious now. That could have been SIDS. So we're going to go and admit the baby upstairs overnight for observation. Now you get that break you've been waiting for. And that's when this 19-year-old, whose 18-month-old baby just stopped breathing a few minutes or a little while ago, when you admit him up to the ward, she said something like, okay, well, I've got some things I need to take care of, so I'm going to go on out and take care of a couple things, and I'll be back in a few hours. Really? How many of y'all would leave your 18-month-old in a hospital knowing that they just stopped breathing a couple of hours ago? I'm not saying it's the smoking gun, but it is something that makes you raise your eyebrows. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll take care of the baby. See, what we have become? Babysitters. That's what we are. And we're going to start watching you, how you interact with the baby. We might even put you in a video room. Did y'all know we had those? Where we can watch on video and see how you interact with that baby. And when the doctor comes in and says something like, okay, Miss Jones, we're going to go on and probably discharge the baby in the morning. We don't see anything in the labs or anything like that. So, probably tomorrow morning you'll be able to take the baby home. Okay, doctor. That night, the baby has another emergency. See, things are starting to build up now. And they're really starting looking close to you. What emergency am I talking about? Baby stops breathing again that night while you're alone in the room with the baby. That's why we have the video rooms. The doctor will come out and tell us, hey, let's go ahead and put Miss Jones, Baby Jones, let's go and put Baby Jones in room 7. And we know exactly what that means because room 7 is our video room. And we want to get you on video. whatever it is you're doing. Okay, what kind of things have they seen? Well, baby won't hold down anything. Anytime I feed the baby, they just throw right up again. Okay, so we'll put you in the room and want you to try and feed her some of this Pedialyte, and let's see how that goes. And the mother takes the bottle, takes the cap off, hands it to this less than 2-year-old baby, who grabs it and tries to drink out of it with no cap on it, and it rolls all down their clothes. So then she takes the bottle back, puts the cap back on, hits the call button and says, yeah, we tried it, but it didn't agree with him. He threw it right up. See, this is somebody who wants us to admit that baby to the hospital so that she can go home and go shopping or whatever it is she wants to do. Now, unfortunately, it goes way beyond that in some cases. People putting things like rubbing coffee grounds into a baby's wounds. The mother who dislocated both her baby's hips on purpose. Imagine that shit. You take the baby and you pull their legs up, knees to chest, until their damn hips dislocate. Then rush them in the emergency room and say the baby fell off the bed. You smother the baby until they stop breathing, and then rush into the emergency room with the baby. I've seen all kinds of stuff. Probably the most famous case was a lady named Kathy Bush. It was so famous because she was on Good Morning America on Christmas Day. And she was pleading with the audience. You're coming right away. She was pleading with the audience that little Jennifer has had over 100 hospitalizations. Jennifer's like 9 years old. She's had over 100 hospitalizations. She's had dozens of surgeries, and the medical bills have reached the millions of dollars. Okay, it's Jennifer and that's Kathy. The medical bills are in the millions of dollars. People were calling in, man, just donating money. One hospital or one restaurant guy from California, $40,000. Boom, just take it for the little girl. Okay, and later on, they found out that she was doing all of that to her. She worked in the doctor's office. Now, she started out with the whole scenario. She worked at like the manager of a call center. But she convinced Jennifer's doctor that she would be a good office manager. So she actually worked in the doctor's office where Jennifer was being seen and treated. So she was able to get into the little girl's medical records and change lab results and things like that, having them do surgeries on this little girl. Now, these people are also I don't want to say educated, but informed in these areas. And they bully doctors as well. They start to, lawsuits and that type of stuff, malpractice. Why haven't you done this test? Or why can't we do this test? Or why can't we do this surgery? And ... The girl has stomach tubes and all kinds of procedures done on her. And turns out there was nothing wrong with her. Her mother was driving all of that. And doctors know well these kind of people. They're trying to bully the doctor into doing this lab test or this exploratory surgery and ... All the surgeries she had were all exploratory, looking for something based on the symptoms that the mother was reporting. Okay. And this went on for a few years. She was finally busted. They took her to court, and she only got 2 years in prison. After all that, they should have put her in prison. Huh? Go ahead.
There's a show on Netflix. that was a true story that a lady did that, and then she faked all these illnesses. They gave her like a house and all this stuff, and the daughter got old enough and ended up killing her
Yeah,
because of all the surgeries and stuff she had done.
yeah, I've
That's
heard of
that
that.
Gypsy Rose.
Yeah, I've heard of
Yeah.
that show. Yeah, yeah, I've heard of that show. I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it. So yeah, that is, boom, guys. That's Munchausen syndrome by proxy. All right, now let's talk then about your basic. It's going to take a minute since I shut the computer down this morning. Your basic child abuse. Okay. Now, what are we looking for that makes you suspect child abuse might be at play? Any ideas?
Bruises.
Somebody holding their baby now is like, come here, let me hold my baby. Everybody else, da da da. I ain't no Munchausen. That's right. I love my baby. All right, even though he's a little jerk sometimes, huh? All right. So, what are you looking for? Somebody said something.
Bruises, change in the child's behavior.
Okay. Let's say wounds that don't fit the explanation. In other words, the kid bumped into the iron, but you notice a full iron print on their arm. Just kidding. Nobody bumps into a damn iron like that and gets the full print. I don't think so. So wounds that don't fit the explanation. This wound couldn't have happened based on what you're saying. What else might you be looking for? Wounds that don't fit the explanation.
Low birth weights, like not gaining enough weight.
Okay, that might be a sign of malnutrition. How about wounds in different stages of healing? Your baby has a bruise on their arm, and as you're examining them, you see an older bruise on their leg. And you look in the record, and their foot was bruised 2 months ago. So different stages of healing, so multiple wounds.
I have another one. Like say you're like injuries that happen to your baby's leg or something like that, and the baby can't crawl. So how does the leg get sprained? And
yeah, that's up here. They don't fit the explanation.
right.
You say, my baby fell down the steps, but we're working with the baby. Baby's not even walking. How the hell they fall down the steps? Okay. Again, it might not be the smoking gun. Any one of these don't fit the explanation. The parent may have just been nervous, or the parent may be going by what the kid told them. Bring the kid in, Mama, I fell down the steps. Bring the kid in, he fell down the steps. So any one of these by itself may not mean anything. We're looking at everything, a bunch of stuff that doesn't fit. The child explanation, what do I mean by that? Okay. Guys, whenever they came into the emergency room, children, if they were verbal, I would talk to the child rather than talk to the mother. Not suspecting anything. It's just, talk to the kid, man. So little dude, what happened to you? I fell off my bike. You see what happened right away? I fell off my bike. They're looking for the parent to confirm that they said the right thing. Did I do right? Did I say the right thing? Because they've been coached on what to say. So that's what I mean by the child's explanation. Things that don't fit. The parents are overly eager or anxious. By overly eager, what do I mean? We need to get out of here. We have an appointment today. Can we just get the baby seen and get out of here? Okay. So the parents are just overly eager to get out of here, or they're anxious about being here. Now, you can expect the parent to be nervous if their child is hurt, but this goes like a little bit further than that, okay? This is the person that just will not sit down. They're constantly like this because, you know, you got the baby down the hallway. They are nervous about you being alone with the child. Can I come in there? Well, we're going to be doing a procedure in there that's pretty sterile, so we need you to remain out here. We're going to be doing some suturing. Well, it's my baby. I should be able to be in the room. Oh, okay. We'll hand that over to the doctor. Doctor someone says he wants to be in the room while we do the suturing, and let the doctor handle that. So any one of these things by itself, probably nothing. It could be nothing. You start seeing several of them, overly anxious, Why don't you want me to be alone with this kid? That kind of stuff. We start getting suspicious. All right. Now, with any of this stuff going on, we should know that it is not your job to notify anybody. It's the doctor's job. So what do? You make your suspicions known to the physician. If there's something you see on interview, bringing the patient in, getting their vital signs, getting down their chief complaint and that type of stuff, if anything makes you raise your eyebrows, you pass that on to the doctor. Not in the note, but verbally. And in the note, I mean not in their medical record. You don't want to write anything in their medical record about anything like this. The doctor does that. So you let the doctor know that you are suspicious about something. And how did I do that? See, we need to be cautious about this stuff because now we're starting to step into the legal area. And we don't want somebody to get away with something because we made a legal mistake, something that their lawyer could use in court to get them get the charges thrown out or something. So how did I do this? I would always go to the doctor and I would say something like, Doc, room 7, check them in for blah, 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 whatever they're coming in for. And then I might say something like, something doesn't feel right about this one. No specifics, just something doesn't feel right. And see if the doctor goes in and comes out with the same idea that, yeah, something's not right here. So we didn't try to lead each other. Like, hey, doc, you know, the parent just seems like very, very nervous about being here right now. That could lead the person into walking in with the idea already that this person is nervous. And they're going to see the same thing then. Yeah, they were a little bit nervous. So we tried not to do that. Policemen do the same thing sometimes. When a policeman takes your statement about what happened, write down at the bottom of the report where they sign their signature, they might just go down there and put DSR right below their signature. Anybody know what that stands for? Doesn't sound right. I'm not trying to lead anything. And this is where a detective can look and say, yeah, look, the cop who took their statement at the scene also felt that there was something that didn't just feel right. Okay, my case. Man brings a baby girl into the emergency room on Sunday morning. She was 11 months old. She has 2nd-degree burns from the belly button down. The explanation is the little girl fell in the water. I was preparing the bath to get ready to give her a bath, And while I was running the water, before I got a chance to test it, the little girl just kind of was standing next and just kind of fell over into the water before I got a chance to test how hot it was. That's the story. Okay. So I take the little girl in the back and I do the examination, and she has a burn line from about the belly button down, but the burn line is straight across like that. Everything below, 2nd degree. Everything above, nothing. This child did not fall in water. Looks to me like she was dipped in the water. So now, that's not really necessarily child abuse. I mean, this person may have went to put the baby in the water, didn't realize how hot it was. The baby got burned, and now they're scared that they're going to get charged with something. So they lie about the baby falling in. So it could have been done on purpose, or it could have been an accident. But either way, this baby did not fall in this water. This baby was dipped in the water, either on purpose or by accident. Couple that with the idea that this is a big black guy, and he is really, really anxious about being here. I mean, they've got something to do right now. And he's pretty staunch about that. Sarge, listen, we got somewhere to be this morning. Is there any way? We need to get out of here. We got an appointment today. Now, he wasn't an active duty military person. He was what we call a dependent husband. His wife was in the military, and she was deployed at that time, and he was at home with the kid by himself. Okay. So we got somewhere to be this morning. Come on, Sarge, got to get us out of here, man. We got an appointment today. Really? So your explanation doesn't fit what I'm looking at. You're very anxious about being in here. And even though this kid was pre-verbal, he was really concerned about me being alone with the kid. Again, not enough to say, yeah, but it was enough for me to go to the doctor and say, Doc, something doesn't sound right. So the doctor goes in, interviews the father, examines the baby, comes back out, looks at me and says, you're right, I don't like this. So our job now is to get 2 other doctors in here. And that's how serious we are about maintaining legality. We need a couple other doctors to come in here and say the same thing. So this is not being said by just 1 or 2 people. So we had to get 2 other doctors in there on a Sunday morning. One of them, since it involved a child, one of them had to be a pediatrician. So I called the pediatrician on call, and this heifer's up at the lake with her family. Supposed to be on call today. Luckily, she called me because they had pagers back then. So she called back. I said, yeah, Doc, we need you in the emergency room. Well, I'm up at the lake with my family. I don't give a damn. You're on call today. Get your butt in here. And the other doctor was on his way. So we're waiting on the 3 doctors to get in here. I've got the baby in the back. The father is out in the waiting room, pacing back and forth. He will not sit down. And he's tapping the watch. Sarge, yeah, we got some place to go now. I understand. We'll get the baby out here to you. No problem. Well, can I just, no. We got the baby out here. We're going to get you out of here. So my job was to keep his ass in the emergency room. If he says, if I let this guy for 1 second suspect that we suspect something, can I stop him from taking that baby out of there? No. Only DHS can do that. The police can't even do that. The police can stop him from leaving, but they can't take the baby from him. DHS has to do that. So the police will get DHS to come over and take the baby from you, unless there's some, you're trying to strangle the baby or something obvious. Other than that, police can't even do that. So I've got to convince him to stay, because if he just walks past me, goes back there, takes the baby, walk out the door, if I try to stop him, I've broken the law. So my job is convince him to stay. So I'm making up shit like crazy, y'all. Yeah, listen, the pharmacy tech is up at the lake with his family. Remember, the best lies incorporate some of the truth. He's up at the lake with his family, man. He's on his way. He's got to mix up this cream that we can put on the baby, so we don't get a lot of scarring. Da da da. I've got the cream right back there. I've already put it on, but just making up stuff. Well, can I get the cream and put, it's a little girl we're talking about here and scarring and stuff. We really need to get that first dose put on here, and then I'll show you how to do it, and you can do it from home from now on. But pharmacy tech guy's on his way. Soon as he gets that, we'll get that on there. We're going to get you out of here this morning. And this dude is just back and forth the whole time. We're waiting on these freaking doctors to show up. Finally, all three doctors are in the office down there talking. They come out of the office, and the doctor tells me, yes, we're going to go on and call DHS, Department of Health and Human Services. CPS, Child Protective Services, fall under them. So yeah, we're going to go on and call DHS. So I still need to keep him calm down in there. Pharmacy tech just showed up, man. He's mixing the stuff right now. I'm going to go down there and get it. We're going to get that treatment on there. We're going to get you out of here. Sarge, because we got to go now. All right, I understand, sir. We're going to get you, okay? Don't. We're going to get you out of here. It finally reached a point where he was standing at the lobby, looking back towards the exam rooms. Sarge, go get my kid right now. He's getting suspicious now. Go get my kid right now. All right, boss, I got you. I walked back there in the treatment room, and I was like, damn, baby's right there. I'm like, shit, what am I going to do? I looked down the hallway, and the doctor, the Child Protective Services, and the two policemen were coming down the hallway. Damn, finally. So I walked out there. I walked past him. Remember, he's standing right there at the waiting room door. I walked right past him with him looking at me like, did you hear what I just said? I walked right over, stood at the counter where you check in for the appointments. I just stood there, leaned back against the counter. Now he's looking at me like, can't you hear? Whatever. One of the first people, or the first person to enter the waiting room, was one of the police. And he looked over and he saw the policeman walk in, and he looked back at me with this look of just total disappointment. Like, did you really just tell on me, or did you really just snitch on me, or whatever? And the answer is, yeah. Because one or two things happened today. Either you're stupid or you think I'm stupid. Either way, I'm not going to let you walk out of here with that baby today. So they arrested him in the lobby, and he ended up getting 12 years in Leavenworth. Turns out that he'd done it on purpose. Now, what if he had been an accident, like I said? If he'd taken the baby, ran the water, put the baby in the water, baby screamed, he snatched the baby out, realized the water was too hot. If he'd have just come over and said that, he probably wouldn't have done time. It was an accident. But just trying to cover it up is suspicious anyway. If it were an accident, why are you lying about it? So he may have, and he went the whole time saying that, yeah, it was an accident. I didn't mean to do it. But it was the lie that got him the 12 years in Leavenworth. If he'd have just come in and admitted that he'd made a mistake, he probably wouldn't have gone to jail. All right, so anyway, let's go ahead and take another break. It's 11:45. Come back at 11. I'm not going to ask y'all for questions because I got to pee. You got any questions, you can ask when we come back from break. All right, I'm back. Bladder's empty. Butt is comfortable again. Got some circulation back to my butt. And I suggest y'all do that, man. Break time, get up out that chair, walk around, go do something. I usually go out in the front yard and just kind of, enjoy the weather or whatever, look at the birds or whatever. My wife's a total bird lady. So we've got all the bird baths and bird feeders and hummingbird feeders and all this mess out there in the front yard. So we always got a yard full of freaking birds. And then she's got her two love birds up there in the living room, making all that freaking noise and stuff. So anyway, I want to stay on Tatiana. I'm glad you made it back in. I didn't get a chance to say that. Sorry about the drama this morning. I didn't know that if you put a person out of the meeting that they can't come back in under that same name and stuff. So I didn't know that. So I probably won't be doing that very much. All right. So anyway, I want to stay on child abuse for just a minute because I am speaking from experience, not only in emergency services, but also my wife and I were reported for child abuse. It was back when we first adopted Deandra. She was 18 months old. And Deandra is biracial. Her mother's white and her father's black, just like me. So, and she was in the foster home, she was with a white family. Now, when we petitioned to adopt Deandra, and I'll tell y'all the whole story when we do reproduction in the last week, the last day, or whatever. But when we petitioned to adopt Deandra, the foster family suddenly decided that they wanted to adopt Deandra. Now, it could have been a couple motivations there. Number one, it could have been that they had just bonded with her and seeing her go would have been hard. So they just decided they wanted to. Or it might have been that they didn't want Deandra to go to a black family. And there was some more evidence towards that kind of thing. But anyway, the state told them, no, it's too late. The homes we've done our foster care training. We're finished. And they're adopting Deandra. And you can't now try and block that. But anyway, so there was some drama between us and the foster family. But we kind of overthinking things during that time. Moving Deandra from the foster house into our house would have been this big transition, and moving her to another daycare and all this stuff all at the same time. So we decided, well, you know what? Let's keep her in the same daycare. And that way, not everything is changing at one time, and maybe it'd be a little less stress on everybody. So we kept her in the same daycare that she was in, even though it was all the way across town. This was in San Antonio too. Even though it was all the way across town, we kept her in the same daycare. But what we didn't understand or didn't know was that the owner of that daycare was like really close friends with the foster lady, the one that we just finished going through the drama with. And in the first week of Deandra moving in with us, she developed an ear infection. The lady, the owner of the daycare, knew that obviously, and decided that was child abuse. So we were reported for child abuse because Deandra got an ear infection. Now the state, they apologized the whole time, but saying that they had to do the investigation. So we had to go through a 6-month child abuse investigation, where they show up at your house unannounced, looking through your trash cans and going through your dirty clothes hampers and seeing what kind of dishes is in the sink and that kind of stuff. Okay, what you got in your refrigerator and pantry and all this mess. So, and my wife, y'all, keeps a meticulous house, always has. As a matter of fact, she won't let me do anything. Want me to wash the dishes? No, because you don't do them right. Jaime, Chris, Isaac, guys, listen. I've been doing this for 38 years. Take it from people who know. Go into the kitchen or just ask, hey, babe, would you fix me a sandwich? What's wrong with your hands? Okay, I got this. Go in the kitchen and just mess it up, man. Go down to where the pots and pans are and just start clanking shit. Clank it, 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 until she comes in there. What are you doing? Oh, I'm looking for the thing. What thing? Oh, the thing. Just, and pretty soon they're gonna say, get out of my kitchen. And there you go. I know how to make this work. All right. If you got to do the laundry, fine. Put everything in together. The red shirt with the white shorts, and when everything comes out pink, you'll never have to do laundry again. I got this down. All right. All right. So anyway, my wife keeps a meticulous house, y'all. Makes the beds every morning. I have to empty the trash before we go to bed at night because she's like, bugs gonna get in there. You better take the trash out. No dishes in the sink. Just so it was no big deal for us. You can come by any damn time you want. Who cares? And they did, man. They'll show up at 7 o'clock in the evening, 7 o'clock in the morning. And that went on for 6 months because DeAndre got an ear infection. Now, we were able to sue the daycare, but not for any money or anything. We sued them for malicious reporting. And the reason that that was able to go through was because one of the daycare workers testified that she had heard the lady say, I knew something was going to happen as soon as she went into that black house. So that's the other evidence that it was a black thing. Okay. I knew something was going to happen as soon as they put her in that black house. I knew something was going to happen to her. And that's while she was dialing the phone, by the way, to call the DHS. The lady girl came in and told her DeAndre had an ear infection, so we had to put these drops in there, at whatever time. And that's when the lady decided, oh, now see, I knew something was going to happen to her as soon as they put her in that black house, and she's dialing the phone. And the lady testified that in court. So it was considered malicious reporting. And the state gave her a warning. So she got a slap on the wrist, no fines or anything like that. But we weren't suing for money. We were just suing for malicious reporting, man. You cannot be doing that kind of stuff because you got an attitude about something. Now, let me ask y'all, what would have happened if I had let that man in the emergency room that morning know that I was suspicious of him? Now, did I want to call him an asshole?
Probably.
Did I want to cuss him out and ... Hell yeah, I did. But what would have happened if I had of?
He'd have removed the child and got on.
Yeah. And if you know that somebody suspects you of something, what's the best way to get away with a crime? To get rid of the evidence.
Oh, Lord.
And what's the evidence in this case?
The child.
The baby. I don't know if y'all remember the story not too long ago where the couple claimed the baby was kidnapped and they found the baby in a backpack hidden in the woods.
The Anthony case?
Is that what it was? Or is she the one that drowned her kids?
No, those are two separate cases.
Okay, so it was the lady where they found the kid in the backpack. Y'all, they may have done that to get rid of some kind of evidence. It may have been an accidental death and they tried to hide it, or it may have been that the baby was so bruised or beaten from a beating that they decided it's best for the baby to just disappear than to try to go into the emergency room and explain that. I really don't know the whole story, but I know they eventually found the baby hidden in a backpack in the woods somewhere after the family was saying the baby was kidnapped or ran away or something. So
they said she originally drowned and they panicked.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Why would you panic? I mean,
Probably
kids,
because
yeah, kids drown. You know, I mean, it's a sad thing that happens, but most parents run into the emergency room with a dead baby going, ah,
hmm
not try to hide the body afterwards. There's something else that happened there.
they was all hyped up on weed and drugs, and the
There was
kid
some,
wasn't being watched.
there was something going on that they were afraid of. So, and the best way is to just get rid of the evidence, man. This guy could have walked out of that emergency room and never seen either one of them again. Guys, it's not just maintaining that kind of emotion where you don't yell and scream and let somebody suspect that you know something about them. And that's probably where I get my philosophy of, if I don't like you, you'll never know. That's how you have to practice out there. That's how you have to be with your clients. You can't be sitting up there suspecting something about somebody and letting them know that you suspect something. But there's the other emotional trap that we fall in as well. One day I was sitting in my office in the ER, and a call came in, and you hear the big come over the speaker and all that. So I got up to go out and see, kind of what was going on. And by the time I got to the control room, the ambulance had already left. And I said, "Yeah, what's going on?" And the person turned on the radio, turned to me and said, "Yeah, they've got a dead baby in the or unresponsive baby in the in base housing." I said, "Okay, well, who did you send?" He said, "Well, I sent Angie and Steve." I said, "Angie and Steve?" Angie and Steve were a couple. They were married. No problem with that. Angie was pregnant. I mean, real pregnant. Angie was about 8 months pregnant. And you sent them to an unresponsive baby call. All right, well, I got in the truck and I drove down there. When I got to the apartment, I walked in, and Angie was doing CPR on the baby in the crib, and Steve was sitting on the floor crying. Angie was crying too, doing CPR. So I walked over and I touched the baby, and the baby was dead. The baby was hard and cold. And I said, "Angie, stop." And she wouldn't stop. She just kept going. I said, "Angie, stop." And she kept going. So I had to finally grab Steve, and we had to grab Angie and literally drag her out of the house. The baby was obviously dead. So that's the other emotional side of it, okay, that we have to try and avoid. Turns out what had happened was the mother and father, a young couple, 18, 19 years old. He was in the military, she wasn't. And they just decided to just go on vacation. They went home and left the baby there. Now, that's not the end of the story. We've got the baby in the emergency room now. Now, the baby's obviously dead, but you still need the doctor to come in and sign the death certificate and cause of death and all that. So we were waiting on the doctor. And this doctor that day, real jerk, man. Nobody liked this dude, Dr. Greenwood. This man was horrible, horrible bedside manner. Just kind of snapping at people all the time. And this was a moment in the ER where everybody was just kind of down right now. And it's like, call the doc on call. It's Dr. Greenwood. Oh, damn. All this now, we got to deal with this man. Greenwood comes in, he walks past, he doesn't say anything to anybody. He just walks into the treatment room. And we're like, oh, man, just having to deal with this dude right now. And everybody, they're repacking their gear and all that. And I'm listening, and I hear, what is that? It's singing coming from the treatment room. I walk over and crack the door and look inside, and Dr. Greenwood is sitting there with that baby, rocking back and forth, singing a lullaby to a dead baby. So, you can't always judge people necessarily by the way they interact. Okay. And I got a chance to talk to him later, and he said that nobody should die alone. And that's why he was doing that. So anyway, that's the other emotional side of what we do, dealing with death, man. And this kind of stuff out there. People have been hurt by somebody else. And it's not just the baby, it's the battered woman coming to the emergency room that's been beat up by her husband, or the battered husband. Y'all, I had this couple in my class one day, and well, they, in class, and they came to school one morning, and this child had a slap mark across her face. It's like, really? And I pulled her to the side. I said, listen, tell me about your face. I mean, you don't have to, but tell me about your face. She said that the place where she works, they use a lot of chemicals. And in her, she works in the office. And sometimes the guys working with the chemicals come in there and use her phone. And when she picked up, sometimes the chemicals get on her phone. And when she picked up her phone and put it to her face, the chemicals got from her hand onto her face and burned her face. And I looked at her and I said, so, did y'all sit up all night thinking of that one? I mean, Mr. Mahone was born at night, but not last night. Come on. How long did it take y'all to think up that one? And she said, Mr. Mahone, I'm okay. I said, well, it's not my place. So you have to know your place out there in the world too. So anyway, I've also had another couple come up to me right after a conversation like this. It was a lesbian couple. And one of them, I don't like to use the word butch, but, more masculine appearing, the shorter hair, baggy, And the other one was the, petite little feminine lady, like So anyway, right after this conversation, we ended the class, and the one part of the couple, the more masculine looking lady, she came up to me and she said, Mr. Mahone, there's some abuse going on in our relationship. And I said, well, and I'm thinking to myself, I didn't say this, but I'm thinking to myself, well, keep your damn hands to yourself. What? Stop it. But it wasn't her. She raised up her shirt and her whole side was bruised. And it was the petite little feminine ladylike girl was beating her ass, man. So it's not always that, obvious of a scenario. So when I say I've seen everything, I've seen a lot of shit out there. All right. So anyway, that is boom. Child abuse, spousal abuse, guys. We all want to do what's right. And by law, you're required to report your suspicions, but you're required to report them to your physician, your charge nurse of the ward, the medical director at the nursing home. We don't have the authority or expertise to be making that phone call. That's done by the person in charge. So we do have a responsibility to report our suspicions, and that's how we do it. We report it to our managers, all right, rather than jumping on the phone, making phone calls, because you might get yourself embarrassed or even lose your job. The lady at the Jim's restaurant was a waitress, and she saw a pregnant lady smoking in the smoking area of the restaurant. And she saw that as neglect, abuse, not neglect, but abuse. So she called the police. And the police came in, and the or the store manager, restaurant manager, fired her butt. The waitress. I would have too. It's not your position. And how was she embarrassed? It turns out that, did y'all know that there are some doctors out there who tell you if you're pregnant, or if you're a smoker and you get pregnant, don't quit smoking. because quitting smoking can cause so much stress on your body that it could actually lead to a spontaneous abortion. So they advise you not to quit, to cut back, but don't quit cold turkey. And turns out that's what was going on with that lady. She said, my doctor told me not to quit, to slow down, to cut back, to try, because they didn't have nicotine patches and that type of stuff, but to not to quit cold turkey. So anyway, and the restaurant lady or the waitress lost her job. I would have fired her too. Hell, you just going to call the police to my restaurant, and I'm the restaurant manager. You better come talk to me. I decide whether we call the police or not. All right, so anyway, that is, we got from Munchausen over into different types of abuse that happen out there. Oh, no, we didn't do different types. Child abuse, spousal abuse. What about elder abuse? What is that? What is elder abuse?
Hurting old people, basically.
Well, yeah, but how do you do that? What are some forms of that?
Calling, not giving them the meds, not feeding them, almost like a child, because they're basically a child again.
Withholding medical treatment, withholding food,
Exploiting, taking their stuff,
emptying their bank accounts, blackmailing them. Psychological abuse, guys. If you love me, you would buy this for me. That's psychological abuse and can be proven in court. So we pretty much take advantage. We take their money. What if you have a client and you tell your client, Mr. So-and-so, if you don't stop, I'm going to tie you down to the chair. Is that abuse? Yeah, you just threaten them. If you don't stop, I'm not going to feed you tonight. Yeah. We've got to know all of these laws and things, y'all, as they apply to us, or your name is going to end up in this handout that I use when I talk about law and ethics, which we'll be doing next module. So stealing from them. So it's elder abuse, and you could be charged and end up in jail. At the very least, you could lose your freaking job for threatening a patient. If that man's daughter comes into the building tomorrow or this afternoon and says, so-and-so told my dad that if he didn't stop yelling, she wasn't going to feed him dinner or lunch. That's a threat right there. And you could have the whole place sued or shut down based on your stupidity. All right, so know what laws govern you out there, guys. And do we need to report this kind of stuff when we see it or when we suspect it? Yes, but know who to report it to. All right, dissociative disorders. Dissociative means that you are taken away from, you're disassociating yourself with something. In this case, you're disassociating yourself with yourself. You don't, for example, you look in a mirror and the person you're seeing is not you. You see strangers in the mirror. That's a true condition. People don't recognize their own reflection. They have been disassociated from themselves in some way. They don't recognize their own reflection in the mirror. Loss of connection between personal thoughts and a sense of self or environment. Patients feel as if they are dreaming or watching a movie of themselves. Events seem to be unreal or strange. In other words, that's not me. And sometimes it's people who do things that they don't want to be associated with them, with themselves. It's like the person who kicks you out of your house when you have, when it's time to be evicted from the house. The person from the sheriff's department who shows up with the warrant, to put you out the house. It's something that they don't like doing. They don't like that about themselves. And as a result, it's as if they're not doing it. They're actually watching somebody else do it. And it is a real disorder. Okay? So their personal thoughts, their sense of self, and whatever's happening in their environment is as if they're watching it as opposed to actually doing it. And there's that term we used earlier, fugue. This is where they find you living in Austin, not remembering that you have a sister, brother, children, or anything else out there. Patient begins a new life, a new location, but is unable to remember anything about their past. Psychogenic fugue. Identity disorder. This is also misunderstood. The biggest misunderstanding here is that this does not happen very often. This is very rare to have multiple personalities. Now, everybody will probably say that they know somebody who has multiple personalities. The truth is, you're seeing two sides of the same personality. Or you're seeing somebody that's bipolar. Split personality. These people will have two distinct personalities that control their body. However, they cannot be in control at the same time. So one personality will be dominant, and the other personality, and this is really important, will lose time. Meaning that it is 11:30 right now. All of a sudden, I look up at the clock, it's 4:30 in the afternoon, and I have no idea what happened in those 5 hours. That's but losing time. So the personalities do not know about each other. And that's the mistake that they made in that movie Split. When he was talking to the girl, and one of the girls that was locked up in there. I didn't watch the whole movie, I just seen clips of it. But he was talking to the girl, and he was supposedly the child personality at that time. And she was trying to talk him into letting her go. And he said something like, "The others won't let me. I'll get in trouble." It's a big mistake. You don't know that there are other personalities. So I cannot refer to something that the other personality did or that the other personality even exists, because I don't know. It's me. There's a really good movie, y'all, called Primal Fear. It stars Richard Gere, and not one of my favorite actors or anything, but this is a good movie, man. He's one of those high-powered lawyers, that wants the spotlight and always wants to be on TV and da-da-da. And so he seeks out those kind of cases that are going to be really dramatic and always in the news. And he's seeing this guy that is live on TV. Police are chasing this kid, like 19 years old, covered with blood, running across the railroad tracks. And the police are in pursuit. And he's looking at this. They suspect that he's killed a priest. He stabbed a priest to death. And they're now chasing him on live TV. And he's in his office going, "We got to get this kid, man. We got to represent him. This case is going to be the big one. This is the one that's going to put us on the map. Everybody's going to see this case on the news. We want to represent this kid." So it's not about, him being or proving him whatever. It's about getting my face on the news, representing him. So anyway, he does get to represent this kid. He takes it on pro bono. We're going to do him for free. All the publicity along with this, hell, it paid for itself. So he is working the case, and turns out this kid has two personalities. And it was the other personality that did the murder. So now he's running with this, man, and he's going to prove, he's going to get the kid off now because, you know, he's sick. We're going to get him in the state hospital. So, so he gets him in the court, man, and he's got to show, because the judge won't let them admit any evidence about split personality. So he's got to show it without introducing it in the evidence. So he gets this kid on the stand, and he kind of, you know, grills him through it a little bit, gets kind of mean with him and so on and so forth. And then he lets the prosecutor lady take over. And she starts beating him up, man, beating him up. And he says, yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I didn't know. And yes, ma'am. And yes, ma'am. And then she says something and turns and walks away. And he looks up and he says, where you going, bitch? And he starts yelling, and he jumps up and he grabs her and he chokes her. And now they've proven there's the other personality. They got it on camera. They got the switch on camera. This dude is going to the state hospital. He's not going to prison. He stabbed a priest something like 30 times, but he's going to the state hospital. I got him off. So now the kid is down in the holding cell downstairs. He goes down and talks to him, and he says, you know, Aaron, you're not going to go to prison. Okay. Everybody understands you are sick. You're going to go to the state hospital. He's like, thank you. Thank you. I really, And then he says, so, is Miss So-and-so okay? Is her neck okay? And he says, oh yeah, she's fine. She'll be okay. And he started to walk away. And it hit him right as he's walking away. Wait a minute. How do you know about Miss So-and-so's neck? The personalities don't know about each other. Aaron would have lost time. He wouldn't have known about the attack. So he goes back and he's looking at him like this now. And the dude looks up at him and, you figured it out. He was faking the whole time. So anyway, and he just made one mistake at the end. And he said, you figured it out. So anyway, that's I know I just did a whole, like, what they call it, spoiler thing, whatever. But it's just a way he played the lawyer like that. The dude left the courtroom, Richard Gere, the high-powered lawyer. When he was leaving the courtroom, all the TV cameras were out front, and he snuck out the back door. This kid just played me like that. Got him into the state hospital after he murdered a priest. All right, so anyway, identity disorder, the personalities don't know about each other. And it's a dead giveaway in some cases when people are faking. And that's why it takes almost years of interviews and things like that to actually be diagnosed with this, because there's so many people out there that are either faking or it's something else. We're looking at bipolarism or something like that. Each personality is capable of independent thoughts and actions and may be unaware of others. No, they are unaware of the others until we tell them. In the past, it was known as multiple personality. Okay. Body dysmorphic disorder. They're concerned with minor defects. These are the people who are what they call addicted to plastic surgery. Anna Nicole Smith, Michael Jackson. Y'all know that thing Michael Jackson had on his nose was a prosthesis. That's why his nose looked all pointed and funny like that. He had so many procedures on his nose that the cartilage had finally broken down. And it was just, boom. So they had to remove the cartilage there. And so the whole tip of his nose had to be removed. And that was a prosthesis that he wore right there. Okay. Did y'all know that wasn't his hair? Everybody think that Michael Jackson, oh, that wasn't Michael Jackson's hair. Michael Jackson burned his head during a Pepsi commercial in the 1980s. and all of that was not, it was all weeded, but it wasn't, it was like into his skull. So it's sewn in there. I'd like to see what that man looked like without all that stuff, man. Anyway, Anna Nicole Smith, the person who calls themselves the living Barbie doll. Have y'all seen this person? And the living Ken doll. Now, I know they're going to come up with all these dolls that you buy in the stores and stuff, but where's that lady? Is this her? Anyway, that might be her. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's that her. Okay. And she's not as weird looking as I remembered. So I must be thinking about a different one.
There's actually like 2 or 3 different
right,
women.
Yeah. So she's not the one I'm thinking about. But this dude right here. Look how weird this dude looks, y'all. This is one I was thinking about. Okay, maybe, yeah. But look how weird this dude looks. The living Ken doll, okay? And these are, look at this. These are plastic surgeries. Okay? And they just keep going and going. Anna Nicole Smith, or if I'm saying the right name, I'm not sure. But she had so many procedures on her hips and thighs and butt that she got sepsis and ended up dying from those procedures. But anyway, these folks are just addicted to plastic surgery. That dude looks like the Joker, doesn't he? So anyway, they're just addicted to the plastic surgeries, body dysmorphic disorder.
Little Kim is starting to do that too. She's like, she changed the color of her skin. She enhanced all this stuff, Botox. Like she looks like a whole different person.
Who
now.
is? Who's
Little
that?
Kim,
oh,
the
is
rapper
she?
lady.
Yeah, yeah.
Like turned into a white lady now.
Really?
Yeah. She said she didn't like the color. She was too dark and all of that back in the day. And
okay.
She just looks like a cat lady now.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
Are there pictures of her in here?
Yeah.
Let's see. Which one y'all talking about?
All of those are her.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Same person?
Yeah, very dramatic though.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Big difference.
Yeah, she keeps making her lips smaller and smaller.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A lot of times people go the other direction.
Like, I guess pulling them in. I don't know. But
yeah.
It looks weird.
Women out there want bigger lips. Men too sometimes.
You look at that one picture, it says top 10 Little Kim. That's probably like when the earlier years of her. It says top 10 Little Kim. That was from when she first started, that one with the big curly weave in her wig or whatever in her hair.
Mm-hmm.
And then now she's like a whole different person.
Yeah, you can see a difference actually. You can actually see a difference in me too, y'all. When I was a young man, I had lips. I did. I had kissing lips, y'all. And I don't know, I guess my wife just kind of sucked all the juice out of them or something, man, because I don't have any lips anymore. The truth is my face is getting puffier. And that's causing what I did have lips to start to curl inward like that. So anyway, I used to have lips. I had hair too. I had big old afro. Look at me now. Whatever, man. Anyway, I'm an old man. So again, they're addicted to the surgeries, and they have them repeatedly for all these different parts of the body. All right, conversion disorder. This is when you have deficits or sensory motor or anything, but there's no physical reason for it. For example, you can't hear, but your ears work, or everything is there. Your eardrum is fine, your cochlear nerve is fine, everything is fine, but you still can't hear. Your vocal cords are there, you pass air through, no problem, but you can't speak. Probably one of the best cases of that was a mother and son were at home alone. The son was like 5 or 6 years old, and they heard some noise downstairs. They went to the top of the stairs, and the mother told the son to stand right there and be quiet. She went down the steps, and as she got down to the living room, a burglar came out from one of the other rooms, stabbed her, and then ran out the door. But as the burglar was approaching the mother, the little boy said, "Mama." And she turned around, and the burglar stabbed her in the front and then ran out the door. The mother died. The little boy never spoke again. The last words he said was, "Mama." And that caused the death of his mother in his mind. So he never spoke again. Even though everything was intact, he couldn't speak anymore. So that is a somatoform disorder. Everything works right, but you still can't do that thing. Okay? There may be sudden blindness, deafness, paralysis, or inability to speak. It begins with repression of overwhelming anxiety, internal conflict. I spoke, my mother died. I'm not going to say anything else. Which then undergoes a conversion to become physical symptoms, a conversion disorder. Hypochondriasis. There's going to be some of y'all before we finish this class, man. How many of y'all have some of them digestion stuff we was talking about? Oh, yeah, I got that. Oh, yeah, that's me. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of this before we're done. However, hypochondriasis is when you insist that you have this, even though science has said you don't. So this is not just somebody who's read something in a book and decides that they have that thing. Now, this is somebody who goes down and is tested for it. And when we tell them they don't have it, no, y'all must not have done the test right, because I know I have this. That's hypochondriasis. They'll go see another doctor who will tell them the same thing. Well, see, then maybe y'all are just don't know what y'all talking about. Maybe I need to just go see a specialist. And they'll go see the specialist, and the specialist will tell them, no, you don't have the thing. Well, are you sure? Can we just run the test again just to make sure? Run the test again, they still don't have it. Well, there's got to be something wrong, because I know I have this. That's hypochondriasis, man. They will not stop. Preoccupation and misinterpretation of minor body sensations with a fear that these indicate disease. They're convinced they have a serious illness, frequent trips to the doctor, despite medical evidence or reassurance to the contrary. They're known as a hypochondriac. Hypochondriasis. All right. And we have to be careful that we don't self-diagnose ourselves with things as we talk through these chapters. All right. Yay. And that is psychiatry. Let's take another 15-minute break because it's still only 11:45. I don't want to end this early. Take another 15-minute break. We'll talk about a couple things, and then we'll be done for Friday. Hey. Come back on the hour, 12 o'clock.
Mr. Mahone, are you there?
He on a break. He's smoking a
He's
cigarette.
smoking. Now he's
Danielle, what are you doing?
You want to try my butterfly?
Mr. Mahone, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. What are you doing in here?
I'm scared.
We wanted to tell you hi.
Oh, who is that?
We
can't see you.
Hey, I see y'all. All right.
Oh, you
Hey,
Why you not in room 8?
yeah, I see y'all.
Why you not
Okay.
in room 8?
What?
Why are you not in room 8?
We went to your
Because I'm at
classroom.
home. Hi. Deal with it.
What's your address?
No, don't even. What are y'all doing
My wife
today?
gonna beat you up when she see all the ladies at your door.
What are y'all doing?
We're
good.
great.
Now, what are y'all doing?
Oh,
butterflies.
taking blood.
We're
Butterflies.
vampires.
Oh, y'all drawing blood?
Sucking
Okay.
blood out of each other.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Well, y'all have fun. I'm gonna get back to my class.
Okay.
Yeah, sure y'all do. Sure y'all do now. Okay. So now y'all know what to look forward to. Coming in acting a fool with them clowns. All right. So anyway, yeah, they're on campus today. They are doing their phlebotomy classes and so on and so forth. Look forward to that because it is fun time, if you will, coming in and getting with your classmates. And yes, y'all will draw blood from each other. You poor thing. You poor babies. So anyway, what I want to talk about for a minute then is the quizzes. You see Introduction to Anatomy and Physiology completed just like a minute ago. So you just missed it. 35 people have done it already, so I'm assuming that's good news. And the gastro is still open until Monday. So I'll go through those grades this weekend. Remember to write down every grade you get because I can't go through and post the grades up here where everybody can see them. So write down your grades and always keep track of them. Remember, if you don't get that score of 75, keep going until you do, because that's the maximum grade you can get on a retake. So might as well just keep doing it until you get that 75. So if it's a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth attempt, the max you can get on that is 75. So keep going until you get that 75. If you score better than that on the first attempt, don't take it again because the max you can get is 75. So if you score an 85, taking it again won't do you any good. You're still going to get graded at the 85. Okay? If you scored a 55, take it again. If you get that 75 on the second attempt, the 75 will be recorded. Okay? So make sure you stick with that and keep track and get these things done. The other thing that I want to look at is the homework pages. They all are all typed out for you there. I know it looks like a lot, but if you get them done, 4 pages, 4 pages, 4 pages, 4 pages, so on. And in all of these, at least half of the pages are going to be those labeling, where you go in and you label, this is pointing to the stomach, this is pointing to the pancreas, and so on. So that's not that difficult to get done. So only about half of these pages are the actual word parts, looking those up and what they mean. Remember, that's a big part of your learning, guys. That is your medical terminology class. So, you know, we use the words in class, but where you're going to learn them is with the homework. Now, if you have an issue with any of the sections of the homework, you don't know what to do, you can go to the back of the book. And back there, it gives you, I think, either the odd or even answers. But you can get an idea of what they're putting and what you're being asked for in each one of those sections. Do not let this stuff go until the last week. Because what you're going to find yourself in this last week, when we come up to the that week of August, whatever, through the 13th, you're going to find yourself having to do 3 tests and 15 pages of homework in 1 week if you let this stuff go. So be proactive on this homework, get in there, get it done. I don't require it until the last day, but you can send it in as you do it. And on the tracking sheet that I'll be putting up every morning, you'll be able to see what homeworks I have from you and which ones I'm waiting for. If you say put this till the last week, you're not going to be able to get it all done in time. And anything after Thursday morning in that last week, I'm not going to accept anything else. I've got to get the grades done by 2 o'clock. And I'm not going to leave the grades hanging out there. In other words, I'm not going to do a grade because I'm waiting on you to turn this in. That's not going to happen. So always stay on top of this. How much did I preach about this last module? Who was with me last module? And how many times? How many times did I say
every day?
And we still got into the last week, and guess what happened?
People still didn't turn it in.
All this homework hanging out there. Yep. People trying to send me this page and this page. And Ms. Moan, did you get that page? And Ms. Moan, I'm sending this page right now. And trying to get it all in at the last time. And some folks didn't make it. And their grade was pulled down as a result of it. Guys, when people say that a class is hard, what they usually saying to you is that it's a lot of work. Nobody's saying you can't do it, but it's going to be a lot of work to get it done. So that's what it means when a class is hard. It's a lot of work. Put in the work. And then your test grades will be a real testament to what you do. But remember, for me, that test grades aren't everything as far as I'm concerned. Okay. If you leave it up to me, there would be some classes where I wouldn't even give tests. So test grades are not the pinnacle of your assessment of how you did in a class. It's how much effort you put into the class. You're going to learn this stuff through the homework. Remember what I said the first day. Therapy happens at home. Learning happens at home as well. I expose you to it. I tell you how to do it. You do it. That's how you learn. So get that homework done. Don't be saving it till the last minute. All right. And that's why I went on and put all those pages up there like that, to make sure that if you are a go-getter and you want to get all these done in a couple of days, it's up to you. If you're working and you want to do one chapter as we do the lesson, that's up to you as well. And when I do release class early, remember, that's not necessarily the time for you to just break everything down, go to sleep and go on the couch and go to sleep. That's the time that you can actually get some of this stuff done. So in the time we release class today, you can probably get 4 pages of homework done, or get to studying for Monday's test. So you can do that tonight and have your weekend kind of free to do whatever. So yeah, we're gonna go on and end class now, and that'll give you about 40 minutes of class time to actually work on some of this stuff. I'm not going to close. Yes, go ahead, Savannah.
On chapter 17, is it going to be 627 or 827?
Is it 827? Thank you.
I believe so.
Yeah. Thank you. Because it's only 1 page. Thank you very much. And y'all go ahead and make that change, okay? Instead of 6, and it'll be obvious when you look at it too. You go to 627, it'll be something else. So make that change, page 827. I did this morning, and actually what I did, I typed all of this out, saved it, and I decided, you know what? Let me just go on and do the one for next module as well. Typed over it, and it erased the whole thing, so I had to type it all again. So I was in kind of a hurry to get this done this morning. I actually finished typing this up about 7:25 this morning. So yeah, that is page 827. Thank you. So I'm going to leave the meeting open. I'm not going to close the meeting. You can actually work on your homework. And if you have a question, if you call out my name, just like when they just did a little bit ago, my wife's sitting out there saying, babe, they're calling you. So I'll be able to hear you if you say anything and I'm going to close it at about 10 minutes to 1 like I should, like normal, but I'm going to leave it open. So if you want to sit there and work on homework or something, if you have any questions, be able to ask them. I'll be within earshot of the computer. So I'll be able to come in and help you out. All right.
Hey, sir, I got a quick question.
Go ahead, Jaime.
Hey, sir, I was just I just started doing those reviews like it's like almost like a game that you play, the test and all that. So you just keep going on those as well.
The review itself is the test.
Okay.
So
okay.
the paper review that I sent you, like gastro or digestion test review, those are the test questions.
Okay.
Study that and then go in and do the game.
And, okay. Yes, sir. And
That's
but just that game is that test is just gonna keep going to the end.
No, that test will be open until Sunday.
Okay. I'm about halfway done with it, sir.
Yeah, it'll be done till Sunday night. But Jaime.
Yes, sir.
On that, when you go online to do that, you need to do that in one sweep, like a test.
Okay.
Because if you go back in, it's going to call it your second attempt.
Okay, I got it.
You feel me? So do it like a test. And then if you don't score well on that, take it over again. But if you get halfway through, stop and come back in, they're going to say it's your second attempt.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So get that paper review, get all that down, and when you're ready, go in and take the test.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording and all that, but I'll keep the meeting open until